Greetings. This is TK Trav, aka Travis Magus, here with LVX777. Listen, we've got a great chapter in store for you today. We're going to talk about the 10 sephiroth and the four worlds. This chapter is really important, but guess what? Every chapter is important. But specifically, this chapter is going to explain, in Dion Fortune's terms, why specifically symbols and a collection of sigils is extremely important for your occult repertoire. This chapter is going to help explain why all mythological systems that have ever been created are based on the same exact principles that Qabalah is based on. So, I hope you're ready to learn something. By now, you should definitely have this book like in front of you with a yellow highlighter, right? Bookmarks. You should be ready because this is not about entertainment. This is about learning. This is about education. Because look, we're explaining literally the secrets of the universe. And I say secrets because most people don't know this stuff. This stuff doesn't come out of public school system. You're not going to find it on television. You're not going to find it on social media. This type of information is what has to be sought after. You literally have to have a burning fire to come get this information. So I hope you take it as seriously as I do, right? If you can't tell that I take this seriously, like I said, I've read this book multiple times. 2 years ago, we did a book study on this channel, and we're doing it again, right? Not because I ran out of books, because literally in every single room in this house, there are stacks of books. So it's not that I ran out of books to read. I'm trying to illustrate the importance of a collection of wisdom. You feel me? So I hope that you're taking this seriously. I hope that you're taking notes, at least highlighting, and come with either your conscious mind engaged or your unconscious mind engaged. And by the way, the more that I learn about this unconscious mind, it's almost getting a little bit scary, right? It's getting a little bit scary. Last night, during my work, I uncovered a memory that actually happened around May, the beginning of May. And I actually stumbled across something that was low-key traumatizing. And I think that it was so traumatizing, I tried to block it from my memory. I tried to run away from it. And this is something that I experienced on the edge of Doth at the Abyss. It's not a cute, cool story time thing. Like when you're talking about Doth, when you're talking about the Abyss, you're talking about the border and the edge of the line that separates the conscious mind and the unconscious mind. Okay. So what I'm saying is that when you're dealing with the very, very intricate aspects of the components that create your being, please take this seriously. This is not a game. Because, man, somebody of a lesser fortitude might have fallen off the wagon. So, without further ado, we're going to dive into this chapter. Peace and greetings to all my beautiful friends and family here. Greetings, greetings. Straight Panther, peace, what's up? Timon, Timon, peace. Sakura Key, Nexus. Is it still hot out there? Just out of Ejects, bro. Good to see you. Laser Beams, greetings, greetings. Alligator the Greater, peace, peace. Sunshine Chick, always great to see you. Travis Harris, peace, peace. Uppity Unicorn, love you. Caesar, Caesar, welcome, welcome. Kevros, SS God, peace. Anthony Hardy, peace. Anaya Stewart, peace, peace, sis. Will Trent, good to have you. Atropa, greetings, greetings. I hope you got the answer to the comment that you posted just now because I'm definitely going to delete it. Sparkle One, greetings, greetings. Jill Anderson, hello, hello. Living in the zone, what's good? CJ, peace, peace. Mariah Magdalene, welcome, welcome. I received the photo. Thank you for that. Al Dickey, what's up, what's up? Christopher Ramjatan, peace and greetings. So let's get into it. Let's get into it. You like hot fudge sundaes? Also realized I just posted a 1-minute clip of a 10-minute video. So he's got even more NPC quotes. Such as, what grade are you in school? Dion Pomeroy, peace, peace. Naturally natured. Good evening. Good evening. Oh yeah. Is it still hot outside? Mr. Higglesworth, peace, peace. Alright, let's get set up here. Sakura Key Nexus, thank you for your donation. I appreciate you. We often consider this reality an error. The conscious mind is not what we think it is. We think that the conscious mind is this overarching experience that controls everything. But the truth is, the unconscious mind is not a part of us. We're a part of it. If the conscious mind only serves to be 10%, then it's only denial to still continue to believe that the conscious mind is running the show. 10%. Think of 10% of anything, right? In all honesty, I wrote something just now, well, not just now, but maybe 2 hours ago when I came out of meditation, in reference to the unconscious mind and the conscious mind's relationship. Basically, the conscious mind versus the unconscious mind can be thought of as like an island, right? The unconscious would be the ocean, and the conscious mind would be the island within that ocean. A lot like this diagram that I've showed many times. But also, think of a symphony, right? Think of a symphony. It's a beautiful song. Now, the concert hall, that would be the conscious mind. The conscious mind would be the place where you can experience the collection of music, and if you had a sensitive ear, you could pick out individual instruments playing their melodies. But if you understand what a symphony is, it's a piece of music played by an orchestra, which includes many different players, which includes many different instruments, many different voices. This is the unconscious mind. Many different voices, aspects, and influences, all vying for an opportunity to live and experience the attention of the conscious mind. So for you to think that you're one person and one voice it can be considered narcissism, but it's definitely an error. Because depending on your mood, or should I say, depending on your state, right? Depending on what phase that you're in is going to really signify and determine what voice or what instrument is playing at any given time. So a good exercise that I would recommend you do, I was almost going to ask you guys to do it, but we kind of got to get to the book. But an exercise that you can do is to write a list of all the things you've called yourself, right? Some people say I'm selfish. Some people say I'm a good learner. Some people say I'm really good at playing music. Some people say I'm really smart. Write down a list of all the different things that you have considered yourself as. And I want you to look at that list and understand that these are all the different instruments in the orchestra playing their different melodies. Now, if you listen to classical music or any music, you'll know that one instrument doesn't play its part the whole song. They take turns, they blend together. Sometimes there's duets, sometimes there's trios, sometimes there's solos. But this is what's happening to you. So if anyone has ever called you a selfish person or whatever, that's not who you are 100% of the time. That's one of the instruments in the orchestra, which means that there are other instruments. and you have the very real power, right? This is the power of the conscious mind. I've made the conscious mind sound like something very small and insignificant, but this is the power of the conscious mind. The conscious mind can choose which instrument is being focused on within the song. But in order to do that, you have to first know you're not one voice, you're multiple voices. So please understand that. Let's get down to business. Christopher Ramjatan says, no I, but eyes. That's right. The plurality of Purusha. Remember how she talked about Kether being seen as a bearded figure in profile? One side is facing creation, the other side is facing the unmanifest. Well, you can think of doing your mantras as the same thing. When you sit down and you focus and you actually do your mantras correctly, right, like your full attention is on those mantras, the mantra is acting as that Kether point. So as you chant those words, as you vibrate the intention of the mantra, it serves as a middleman, right? This is why these and how these mantras change your life. Because as you chant these mantras, it's as if they open a nexus, they open a gateway, they open some type of passageway so that the unmanifest can filter through into the physical plane. Now, I don't know if you guys catch what the hell I'm throwing at you, but that's some high level stuff. It's not high level because I said it was high level. It's high level because if you actually understand what I just said, you can start producing some real change based on your meditations. But the proof is in the pudding, so go out and prove it. Baby, I deserve. Somebody heard me. Cesar, thank you. Thank you so much for your donation. And by the way, guys, don't forget to hit that like button. It sounds a little awkward having to ask that every time, but because we're in this YouTube business, the likes actually do count, and they do help to raise what's called the engagement, and that's how this system knows what videos are good and what videos are not good, based on engagement. Baby, I deserve. And thank you for hitting the like button. Don't just do it, but thank you for doing it. Christopher Ramjatan says, before you start, what's your take on CERN starting up on the 5th of July? Well, I'll give you the same answer I gave my cousin. It's already started. They would not tell you that they're going to start it on the 5th of July and do it on the 5th of July. They'll go ahead and do it, get their results, and then tell the general public. I mean, shit, that's what I would do. I think that's what any intelligent occultist would do. You don't let the dumbass general public know your intentions before you do it. That's not smart. It's not smart because, number one, you got individuals out here that are unpredictable. But number two, when you introduce certain concepts into the general public, that concept is now shared consciously. So yeah, as far as them starting it on July 5th, they've already started it. Meanwhile, what are you focused on? Who gives a damn? I hope it destroys the world. I hope it does. But we cannot be so lucky. Sunshine Chick says, is it like in Yoga Nidra when Swami Niranjan Hernandez talks about making a sankalpa before deep sleep commences? Yes, ma'am, it is. Yes, it is. Sakura Key Nexus says they only bring in that up to gather attention. Right, right. So if you see something on the news and they're telling you, oh, this is happening and blah, 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 it's already happened. It's already happened. Like, please understand, they, with good reason, and I say they as far as the media and those who are actually the move makers, the chesedic forces in the world, they understand what the general public is, which is very much akin to cattle, grazing cattle, just eating grass, and they only moo and run when the other cows moo and run. So then it doesn't serve them at all to tell you that they're turning on CERN on July 5th. They already did it. That or you are CERN, and they're telling you that so you'll turn on. Who knows? Alligator says, I'm not concerned. Right. It has nothing to do with what we talk about. Scott Russell says there's been so many doomsday events that were supposed to happen that never did. Give me back my energy. Right. So peep the game and then choose if you don't want to play it anymore. Mr. Higglesworth said, I read somewhere when you tell someone something, their ideas start to affect the outcome. Right. And that's the true principle that Aleister Crowley talked about: to know, to dare, to will, to be silent. Not be silent as in you're keeping secrets from your fellow man, but understand that all of our thoughts affect each other. Like I said, the unconscious mind is not a part of us. We're a part of the unconscious mind. And there's a thing called the collective unconscious, right? So trust, the thoughts that I have, many of you have as well, right? And we call it telepathy. We call it, coinky-dink and synchronicity. No, there's a deep level of ourselves that we are accessing, that we come to find is already a part of us. Uh-oh. The 20-minute mark. For some reason, my tablet always pauses the music at 20 minutes. Society Eject says, yep, and if they destroying the world, LOL, we not here anyway. Facts. Y'all gotta go back and listen to these Bobby Hammett lectures, man. You can tell y'all ain't been listening to these lectures based on some of the stuff y'all say. Bobby Hammett and Brother Panic. They're not just cool celebrities on the internet. Like, these guys were actually teaching the divine science. Gerald Sombright, peace, my brother. I hope you're having a great day. All right, let's dig into this thing. So, chapter 9, the 10 sephiroth and the 4 worlds. We have already noted the division of the sephiroth into the 4 worlds of the Kabbalists, for this is one of the methods of classification much employed in Kabbalistic thought and of great value when studying evolution. We must remember, however, that the tree is not an arbitrary method of classification. Remember yesterday, Maestro posted, this ain't arbitrary. And Caesar posted the definition of arbitrary. This is not just willy-nilly. This is not just slapped together. This is not somebody watched one YouTube video and now they're a teacher. This is deeply and thoroughly studied, researched, tested, and proven. Okay? We must remember, however, that the tree is not an arbitrary method of classification. And because a thing is classified under one head in one system, it does not mean that it cannot equally, properly be classified under another head in another system. The reappearance of the same symbol in a different sphere often affords valuable clues. So, if you're a beginner, or if you're just somebody who's here in the study, it would be a good idea to highlight what I've highlighted. Not because you're copying me, but because I highlighted these specific lines because they contain wisdom that is not just surface level. All right? A thing classified under one head in one system, it does not mean that it cannot equally, properly be classified under another head in another system. She's telling you that this stuff is transversal. It doesn't belong to Qabalah. And guess what? It doesn't belong to Islam. It doesn't belong to Christianity. It doesn't belong to Hinduism. It doesn't belong to Gnosticism. It doesn't belong to Satanism. It doesn't belong. These things are transversal. That's what makes this tree of life so universal, right? This actually foreshadows the fact that there are different worlds that serve as lenses for us to see the tree through. You catch that? As we're about to talk about the four worlds, we're talking about different lenses that we can see the tree through. And in these worlds, we'll see different versions of the same concept, right? How many of you have seen that there's a similar type of entities and deities across different systems? There's a reason for this. There's a reason that you've always got a warrior god. There's a reason you've always got a love god. There's a reason you've always got a father god, a mother god. There's a reason you've always got a teacher god, a savior, self-sacrificing god. There's a reason for this. But also, even with the color scales, right? You're going to notice that Netzach, we know in the tree of life that we always look at, I said yesterday, this the color scale of Bria. So in the color scale of Bria, Netzach is going to be green, emerald green. But guess what? In a different world, such as Atziluth, it's actually amber. So you're looking at it through a different lens, literally. So just understand, we're not here to look for right and wrong. That's an infant mindset. That's a baby kindergarten mindset. If you're out here looking for right versus wrong. What we're actually looking for is what works. Or looking for the synthesis of the different levels of meaning. Tunnels of Set, we dig for riches, temporal chaos and visions, continually flying above the abyss, chaotic realms envisioned. Here is Zufli Flu. He's the guardian of the 28th tunnel of Set. But of course, that has nothing to do with anything, so don't worry. Cesar says, Travis, you should make music. Well, I did. I actually wrote a whole album about the Qliphoth. But at the time, literally nobody that I was interacting with knew what a Qliphoth was, so there was no point for me to release any of my music. Okay, I see in the chat people are talking about this 1VX777. I'm grateful that you guys have enough common sense and perceptive ability to understand that that is not me. Never in my life have I or will I inbox you specifically talking about I'm choosing individuals to do a reading, beloved. They don't even sound like me. And here's the real kicker to tell who's paying attention. If you just look at the profile, number one, I've got like a couple thousand posts. They only have a couple hundred. And if you scroll down just 5 or 6, maybe 10 lines, you'll see that there's pictures of some girl. It's not even me. It's not even me. They just started a couple weeks ago imitating me. So please don't fall for that. You know that's not me. You listen to me like a couple times a week, if not once a week, and how I talk and my rhythm and my cadence and the words that I choose. This person doesn't even talk like me. Beloved, I'm here to offer you a reading. I'm choosing from my followers, beloved. Come on now. The only time I say beloved is when I'm making fun of something. But living in the zone is correct. Report as fraud and scam and block them. Don't just block them. Report them as fraud, and that is actually what makes Instagram delete their account. We've done this already. ZJ says they're getting better at scamming, bro. They're really trying. They are. But that's the counterbalance. They have to exist just like I do. Joker and Batman, right? Yeah, Micah says, make love and beloved. Society Eject says, LOL, they don't know about your music, Trav. Oh, they don't know about them videos you sitting in front of the couch. They don't know, man. They think I just watched a couple of Brother Panic videos and started making deep, dark, mystical speeches. Stray Panther says, ask them, do they love hot fudge sundaes? If they don't answer what the way Trav does, they're fake. Boom. There you go. There you go. That's how you can, I mean, even look at like the Freemasons and other secret societies like that. They communicate with each other through inside language, inside jokes or whatever. They got secret handshakes, they got code words and shit like that. That's why I do what I do. That's why I do what I do. Because at any given time, if you don't believe it's me, you can access one of these inside jokes. And if I don't respond appropriately, then you might not be talking to the real one. The same thing applies to these spirits, which is why correspondences and symbols are so important. A lot of people have asked when I did a questionnaire about Goetia, how do I know if I'm dealing with a fraudulent spirit? How do I know I'm dealing with the right one? Well, you got to know the language it speaks. You got to know the inside jokes of the spirit. You got to know the stories, the mythology. And if you understand that, then it's easy to determine if you're talking to the right one. Let me know if that made sense to you. If you're praying to Jesus and he says, I need you to sacrifice 3 kittens and 5 babies, you should know that that's not Jesus. Mobi, good evening. Nuru, welcome, my friend. All right, let's keep going. So, number 2, under another method of classification, the 10 holy sephiroth are considered as appearing in each Kabbalistic world upon another arc or level of manifestation. So that just as Or Ein Sof, the limitless light of the unmanifest, concentrated a point which was Kether, and the emanations worked down through increasing grades of density to Malkuth, so the Malkuth of Atziluth is conceived of as giving rise to the Kether of Bria, and so on consecutively down the planes, the Malkuth of Bria giving rise to the Kether of Yetzirah, the Malkuth of Yetzirah giving rise to the Kether of Asaya, and the Malkuth of Asaya, in its lowest aspect, abutting upon the Clipoth. What a coincidence, we just mentioned the Clipoth. So, a good thing to do to understand what she just talked about is to memorize the symbol of the Tree of Life. To memorize that pattern of the 10 spheres connected by these 22 paths, right? Memorize the picture before you memorize the words. Remember yesterday I talked about different methods of learning, right? Different ways of learning. And I said the fastest and most direct form of learning is visual learning. You can see an image instantly. But when it comes to language and auditory learning, you can only learn that in succession through time. So it's better to learn an image first, then learn the words that are associated with it. And that's another shortcut to having a big memory, is learning things and associating a symbol with them. That way when you pull up the symbol, the words come with it, as opposed to you trying to find the words and then accessing the image. MC Maestro says, so basically I have to use a blue candle. Basically. A blue candle drizzled with hot fudge sundae. Caesar says, I am using a blue lighter right now. You on time, my friend. Society Eject says, 1 John number 4, King James Version. Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits whether they are of God, because many false prophets are gone out into the world. Perfect, right? I mean, isn't that how you know each other? Isn't that how you know who the ops are? Speaking in young folks' language, that's how you know who the ops are. They don't talk like you. They don't walk like you. There's something about them that's off. Beloved, the ancestors want me to do a reading for you, beloved. MC Society EJX says, no, it has to be baby blue, not just any kind of blue. Alligator says, I'm abutting upon the clip-off, LOL. I like the ring of that. And knowing Dion Fortune, that's probably, well, you know, clip-off and butt and Malkuth and root chakra abutting. Or maybe that's just me. The fast life, peace, peace. Yay, yay. So essentially, yeah, do your best to memorize these 10 spheres. I know a lot of us here already have the image memorized. It's not hard. But memorize this image. And to understand what she's talking about here, she's talking about the concept of how the Malkuth of one tree is actually the Kether of a lower tree. And the Kether of one tree is actually the Malkuth of another tree. So understand it's a repeating pattern. It's a fractal. It's a fractal. Not only are these trees stacked on top of each other, but there's also a tree within a tree. You get that? So imagine a system of 4 trees stacked on top of each other. The Kether of one of these trees is the Malkuth of the next tree. They're linked together like a chain. You can easily find this image on Google. Matter of fact, I've got a picture of it in the Kabbalistic Tarot. And since we're talking about the 4 worlds, this is exactly what we mean. So they're stacked on top of each other in terms of degree of intensity. It doesn't actually look like this. This is just a symbolic reference of how this operates. So check this out. This Malkuth of Asaya is actually the Kether of the clip-off. The Kether of Asaya is actually the Malkuth of Yetzirah. The Kether of Yetzirah is the Malkuth of Bria. The Kether of Bria is the Malkuth of Atziluth. Now, symbolically, this should be pretty simple to understand, but if you don't get it, please let me know. I'll be happy to elucidate if necessary. But it should be pretty self-explanatory. Even if my phone is deciding to be blurry right now. There we go. Let me know. Here's another example. Trav, why is this important? Why do I need to know about the Qabalah and 10 spheres and these paths? Because, man, nobody has ever taught us anything. All we know is hand-me-down information from people with biases and opinions. When understanding the system of Qabalah, we're learning an actual system of how to organize reality appropriately. Mariah says, can you explain further? So you can look at this as like a bunch of pancakes stacked on top of each other, right? The lower pancake was cooked first, so it's going to be cold by the time you stack that 20th pancake on top of it. That 20th pancake is going to be perfect, right? After making 19 pancakes, you pretty much understand how much butter you need, or if you cook with vegetable oil or canola, you know, God bless you. But you can figure out how to do it correctly. You start making more and more perfect pancakes because by that 20th one, you got the system down pat. And like I said, the bottom pancake is going to be a little bit cold because it's been there already. But there's a stack of pancakes. They're all pancakes. They're all made out of the same batter. But depending on the amount of intention that was applied when cooking them, is going to give you a different quality of pancake. Does that make sense? Let me know in the chat. Baseball's never been hotter with the Jacksonville Suns. Lance Benfield says, gratitude, Trav. I wrote Amma and Abba on my ancestor offerings today from your read last night. I imagine that Amma and Abba incorporates all feminine and masculine deities. Awesome, awesome. And that's the point of the Father God and the Mother God. Alligator says, the people who wrote all world religions were experts or students of Qabalah. Exactly. Living in the Zone says, you got IHOP pancake, Waffle House pancake, and school cafeteria pancake. And old country buffet pancake. Y'all Magus says, Cracker Barrel pancakes. Pancakes with Q's. Panqueues. Caesar says, thanks for those awesome words, Trav. Cool analogy. Some pancakes straight burnt. Right, you got them burnt ones. Tony Lampkin says, so I relax and concentrate on a symbol for a period of time with my intent. Okay, now that's how I use Qabalah. Yeah, you're on the right track. As a matter of fact, as we get a little bit further into this chapter, she's going to let it be known that meditation is how we actually work on Qabalah. When we get to verses 14 and what else? Yeah, I think it's just on 14. She's going to let you know that the proper way to really tap into this is through meditation, not just reading it. Reading it helps to give you the building blocks. Reading it is buying the Legos, but actually meditating is assembling the Legos. Remember I said yesterday about the Millennium Falcon? Framestar Films asked, is it better to use the Goetia or Servitor? And the example that I gave was, they make Lego sets that have the instructions that you can assemble them, and then they make a box full of Legos. Now, if you got a set or a kit that has instructions for what to assemble, for some people that's preferred because they have directions. Whereas a big box of Legos, you just do what thou wilt. Study and reading, that's buying the Legos, but the practice, that's actually assembling the Legos. Now, if you study a particular system like Qabalah, you have instructions on what to assemble and how to assemble it. That doesn't mean you can't build what you want. You can still buy that Millennium Falcon kit and build a dinosaur or Megatron's gun or whatever. MC Maestro says, Trav, I had a dream yesterday of you teaching me how to tame 4 big-ass elemental animals. Goodness gracious. Were we in that temple that the Scarlet Witch went to? Or were they 4 big-ass animals? Naturally Natured asks, so do you think that the 7 rays of light and their aligned deities, archangels, correspond to the same colors of the sephiroth on the tree? I don't think the color schemes are exactly the same. But I say I don't think so because I don't have enough data on it. So I don't have enough data to answer the question. Living in the Zone says, I'll have Prince's pancakes after he beat Charlie Murphy in a basketball game. Those are some magical pancakes. Right. Elohim pancakes. ZJ says, initiation into Hermetics, he talks about the meditation and contemplation being the best way to transmute. Exactly. Exactly. You remember. MC Maestro says, we were outside of an old church ground in the dream. Today in my meditations, I was attempting to manipulate my Cheetah Kasha on purpose. I was trying to be delicate with it because I noticed if I tried to manipulate it too much, it disappeared. Like literally, guys, you'll get to a point in meditation where you'll see this blue flame in front of you. Like it's undeniable. There's a blue flame in front of you, and it often takes a basic shape. Today it was in the shape of like an eye, like an oval with a circle inside of it. And I was trying to change it into other things, but if I messed with it too much, it just faded away. Have you guys been able to consistently see the Cheetah Kasha yet? I know some of y'all have. Lee Moniel says, good evening all. Just wanted to say thank you, Trav, and everyone in this chat. This past year has been, for lack of a better word, enlightening, and I just ordered Tapashuti. Awesome possum. I'm happy for you. Excellent, excellent. Good job. So yeah, the Cheetah Kasha is a real thing. It's an actual, it's a state that you get into during meditation and trance. And like that's not, you don't have to be special to do it. You don't have to have any kind of bloodline or melanin. Like anyone who is able to still their mind enough will begin to see this blue flame. It's so common, but most of us don't have the patience to sit down long enough for it to happen. And it doesn't, once it starts to happen, it happens all the time. And what I mean by that is when I lay down to go to sleep, or when I wake up, or when I sit down to meditate, I always see this blue flame. And it typically takes the shape of a hexagon. But every now and then it'll be like a triangle or the shape of an eye or something like that. And it occurred to me today, like maybe I should try to manipulate it to see what I can do with it. But anyway, we're getting off topic here. Abutting upon the clip off. Number 3. It is Atziluth, however, which is considered the natural sphere of the sephiroth. It is Atziluth, however, that is considered the natural sphere of the sephiroth. As such, and for this reason, it is called the world of emanations. It is here and only here, listen to this, it is here and only here, Atziluth, that God acts directly and not through his ministers. So God only acts directly in the world of Atziluth. That last pancake, that perfect pancake, the one on top with the butter melting all over it, that you pour the syrup on it and it drips across the side, and you want to try to get it even, so you pour a little bit to the left and to the right to make sure it's all aesthetically pleasing. That top pancake, Atziluth, that is the only place that God acts directly and not through his ministers. In Bria, he acts through the meditation, he acts through the mediation of the archangels. In Yetzirah, through the angelic orders. And check this out. And in Asaya, he works through those centers which I have named the mundane chakras, the planets, the elements, and the signs of the zodiac. So we know that the etheric body, or the astral body, is composed of a system of nadis. We learned that last chapter. That system of nadis, 7 of them we've come to know of as the chakras. And these are channels for prana to flow. These are channels that enable us to move and live and have our being within Prakriti. But that's the lower pancake. That's the burnt pancake on the bottom, which means that the higher pancakes, they're still pancakes, made of the same ingredients. They're cooked the same, right? Everything's the same except the intention applied to it. The pancake is a little bit better constructed. So that next pancake up, instead of God interacting through the chakras, God is interacting through the legions of angels. The next pancake up that's even more perfect, God is interacting through the archangels. And that top pancake, which is perfectly crispy, the color is even on both sides, the butter is touching it, the syrup is touching it, that's the top plane that God operates on directly. Let me know if that makes sense. So the emanations, right, they call it the world of emanations, that top world, Atziluth. The emanations flow from the unmanifest all the way down to the lowest Malkuth in Asaya. So if there's 10 spheres per tree, and we have 4 trees, that's 40 sephiroth. So the syrup of God, the sweet butter of God, Melting on that top pancake travels down through 40 different sephiroth. That's a long way down. And what's happening is that these emanations, they flow from the unmanifest, which we know as Purusha or Shiva. They flow from the unmanifest all the way down to the lowest Malkuth and Asaya, becoming progressively more dense and more physical. So this is something that we see on this pattern. That's something that we see on this pattern. Guess what I'm about to show next? That's something we see on this pattern as well. So what I said, or what she said in the first line, is that the tree is not an arbitrary method of classification, right? The reappearance of the same symbol in a different sphere affords valuable clues. And that even though we might be dealing with different systems, the concepts are the same. So in Samkhya, we talk about 25 tattvas, right? In Vedanta, we talk about 36 tattvas. In Qabalah, we talk about 32 tattvas, or 32 paths. But when you're really dealing with the worlds, let's multiply 32 by 4, and what do you get? Time to crack into it. Bees is D4L. And we back. Bet you can't do it like me. Nope. Bet you can't do it like me. Nope. Bet you can't do it like me. Nope. Flavor in the house and represent the South and gotta let them know. We both different. Let them know. Another song that I have not learned the lyrics to. Bet you can't do it like me. I bet you can't do it like me. So the four worlds, they offer us a symbolic focal point for the degree of God's interaction with creation. In Atziluth, we find that God acts directly upon creation. In Bria, we find that God acts through the archangels. In Yetzirah, we find that God acts through the angelic orders. And in Asaya, we find that God acts through the chakras, the elements, the planets, and the zodiac. But please understand, they're not separate. They're all connected like a string of pearls. When you move one, the other one moves, right? When you take the fork and the knife and you cut down into that pancake, you don't just cut the top one, you cut the second one, the third one, and the fourth one, right? You see how this works? Peace. And we back. It's D4L. I bet you can't do it like me. Nope. I bet you can't do it like me. Nope. Cosmic Chlorophyll, good evening. Welcome. Tony Lampkin, you're fine. Don't worry. Yeah, Micah says, I'm here instead of playing Warzone right now, so I would say that's Magick. Hey, man, I'd say you're making the right choice. You can always go back to Warzone. I'm about to go to Fortnite after this. MC Maestro says, the pancake where the gooey syrup is lathered on the rotund surface, filling every hole. Rotund. 4 rotund animals dealing with the 4 elements. Let's get it started. In here. All right, let's keep going. Girl, shake that Laffy Taffy. That Laffy Taffy. Girl, shake that Laffy Taffy. Oh my gosh, the things that we found popular. Big ass white t-shirts. Listen, who here got into that trend of wearing those big ass white t-shirts that you get from the gas station? XXXXL. Not because you had to, because you had that body type, but because it was the trend of the South. I didn't get into it. But man, everybody around me is wearing those massive t-shirts. Massive white tees. Y'all don't understand. If you've never seen it before, these white tees went down to the knees. These were muumuus. Tell you what, man. Negroes will come out with something that you never expect and make it worldwide popular. All right, let's keep going. We have then, in these four sets of symbols, a complete system of notation for expressing the mode of function of any given power at any given level. And this system of notation is the basis of ceremonial magic. Big fact right there. A complete system of notation for expressing the mode of function of any given power at any given level. She's telling you how to read power levels. Who remembers Dragon Ball Z where Vegeta and Nappa and all of them came with these scouters on their eyes, and they could look at you and they could determine what power level you were. Now imagine that most of the so-called spiritual community is out here without a scouter on. They don't know what they're looking at, so they can see a low-level Krillin, and as long as he knows how to spit some good game, they're thinking they're dealing with a Frieza, a Beerus, a Jiren, because they don't have a scanner. They can't tell. But those of us who have a scale, a scanner, or some way to determine, right, we know off rip, on sight, as the young folks say. Again, this is what the Qabalah serves to present us with. A scale to be able to tell. If you don't have a scale, how do you even know what you're doing out here? The map is not the territory. And if your map sucks, you definitely don't know the territory. Krillin occultist. Tat savitur varenium bargo devas yadimahi io na prachodayat. Om tat savitur varenium. Peace and greetings. Girls, check that Laughing Taffy. That Laughing Taffy. Girls, check that Laughing Taffy. Sakura Key Nexus says, remember that time in the 2000s, right? That was like 20 years ago. 20 years ago. Society EJ says, don't forget about the black Air Force Ones. Those shoes were the symbol of a menace. MC Maestro says, I imagine you're wearing that shirt in my mind. I didn't get into the white tee craze. Thank God. But I was a little bit confused back then, so every now and then I might try to dress like whatever the rappers were at the time. I hated that style, but I only did it to fit in. He's over 9,000! Sakura Kinexa says, or you level up and not need the scanner as the internal scanner, as Goku and Vegeta. As Goku and later Vegeta. Right. But that only comes to a sensitivity to being able to tell in the first place. What I'm illustrating is that these people don't know in the first place. So even Vegeta had to start with a scanner to even have the concept that there's people with different levels. And after a while, you begin to tell intuitively. Just like you might need to have a timer to time your meditation, and then eventually you can do it without a timer because you can intuitively feel. Society's Eject says, yep, Frieza made it to see who was the Super Saiyans and who and their power level. Aldiki says, creases in my Levi's 501 with a tight white shirt and a pocket full of stones. Apple bottom jeans, boots with the fur. All right, so we're getting on verse 4, which is pretty big, and she's dropping some very decent clues about why symbols are important. And this is specifically what I was talking about at the beginning of this video. She says, we have then, in these four sets of symbols, right, the four worlds, and also the God level, the archangelic level, the angelic level, and the mundane chakra level. This shouldn't be new to you, because we learned in massive detail about this in Ladder of Lights. And I have not ever seen it explained anywhere as good as William G. Gray did in Ladder of Lights. So, blessed you are, beloved, if you were here for that live stream or if you read that book on your own. Zaire Anu. Peace, my brother. Walk it out. Cosmic Chlorophyll says, I liked Walk It Out, baby. I wanted some snow boots living in hot-ass Louisiana. Girl, shake that lovin'-dovin'. That lovin'-dovin'. Girl, shake that lovin'-dovin'. So silly. So again, if you don't know, if you weren't here for that, if you missed it, or if you are confused or need more updates, read Ladder of Lights by William G. Gray. He goes into great detail into the four worlds, the world of using the God name, the archangels, the angelic realm, and the mundane chakra realm. So I'm going to start over at 4. We have then these 4 sets of symbols, a complete system of notation for expressing the mode of function of any given power at any given level. And this system of notation is the basis of ceremonial magic with its names of power, and also of talismanic magic and the tarot system of divination. Tarot, astrology, ceremonial magic, names of power, talismans, all that stuff lines up with what she's talking about right now. It is for this reason that it is said of the barbarous names of evocation that not so much as a letter may be changed. For these names are a formula based on the Hebrew alphabet, which is the sacred language of the West, as Sanskrit is the sacred language of the East. So in other words, whenever you read these old occult books and they talk about these barbarous names of evocation, they're talking about specific Hebrew formulas. Or, if they really know what they're talking about, they're mentioning specific Sanskrit mantras. Yeah, I'll say it. The Sanskrit mantras are superior to the Hebrew holy names. And I don't think I have to explain that if you've been a member of my channel for a while. But either way, in Revelations, we always saw where it talked about how a letter shouldn't be changed in this book or it'll be cursed and rendered useless, da 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 da. Well, you got to understand, even to have an English Bible, even to have a Bible in English, the letters were changed. It was already tampered with. You feel me? So he's not talking about the Bible when he says that, right? In Revelations, I don't remember exactly where it is, but there's a verse where he says a letter shouldn't be changed from this. I think it's on the last page, actually. Let me see. But he's not talking about the Bible itself. He's talking about the actual mantras, whether they are in Sanskrit or they are in Hebrew or whatever ancient language that's actually numeric. English is not a numeric language like that. I know people can do gematria to English and all that stuff, but that's doing violence upon it. You know, you're trying to make it work. For I testify unto every man that heareth these words of the prophecy of this book, if any man shall add unto these things, God shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book. And if any man shall take away from the words of this book of this prophecy, God shall take away his part out of the book of life and out of the holy city, and from these things which are written in this book. He which testifieth these things saith, surely I come quickly. Ooh, they put it in red. So that way you know, surely I come quickly. Amen. Even so, come, Lord Jesus. The grace of our Lord Jesus Christ be with you all. Amen. Jesus on the main line, tell him what you want. No, Jesus on the main line, tell him what you want. Jesus on the main line, tell him what you want. Just call him up and tell him what you want. Amen. Amen. Let's continue. In Hebrew, moreover, each letter is also a number, so the names are a numerical formula. A most intricate system of metaphysical mathematics called gematria is based on this principle. These are aspects of gematria which I, at the present stage of my knowledge, at any rate, consider debased and idle, being the accretions of superstition. See, this is why I don't really mess with that gematria stuff. I'm sure there's merit to it, and I'm sure it serves a purpose, but I don't really spend much time on it. Personally, I don't. But the basic idea of the system of cosmic mathematics unquestionably enshrines great truths and contains great possibilities. Using this system, it is possible to unravel the relationships of all manner of cosmic forces if the correct Hebrew spelling of the names of power is known. For these names were formulated in accordance with the principles of gematria, and therefore gematria supplies the key to them. But this aspect of our subject, fascinating as it is, we cannot enter upon it now. So hopefully you've seen the glyph that I've shown of the 4 trees stacked on top of each other. And please understand what she said here in the first sentence of this verse, right? Talking about how the 4-world designation gives a complete system of notation for expressing the mode of function of any given power at any given level, power level. In other words, we have a complete set of symbols to determine what type of power is in operation and what degree of that force is being expressed. Now you have a scouter. Once you learn the tree, of course. But even memorizing the spheres gets you started. So this set of symbols is the basics of ceremonial magic. This is the basis of the tarot. This illuminates the concept behind the divine names, the words of power that are found all over and all throughout the occult grimoires. The names of God aren't for religious superstition, right? Yod, hey, Vow, hey, Jehovah. It's not for superstition. The names are a formula based upon the sacred genius, ancient Hebrew alphabet. And if you continue to dig and seek further, you're going to find vibratory words that were created out of Sanskrit and other ancient languages. Those are just the 2 that I named, but there were others. Jesus on the main line, can't nobody do me like Jesus. Can't nobody do me like Jesus. Cosmic Chlorophyll says, so should I read Ladder of Lights with this, or would that be too much overload? I'm new to Qabalah. Listen, you got the rest of your life. Focus on one thing deeply and then go to the next. If you're with me here on Mystical Qabalah, then do this. And maybe later do Ladder of Lights. But overloading yourself isn't really a good idea. There's no rush, right? If you die, you're going to find out personally. But if you live, you got plenty of time to figure this out. What a friend we have in Jesus. What a mighty God we serve. Stand your ground. Can't nobody do me like Jesus. All these songs all the time at church. Lily June. Yeah, man. I love how more and more of them are coming out of my memory as I sing them. I'm telling you, man, the unconscious mind, it's a powerful thing. What A friend we have in Jesus. Lily June says, my father was a Baptist preacher. Oh, so you got all the songs. You got all the songs. Repeat after me. Did you catch the game last night? My God is an awesome God. Jesus, 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 Jesus. I need y'all to dig through those old Bobby Hemmett videos because there's one that I cannot find. I keep finding every other one. But there's one where he was waddling around like a penguin talking about black folks always calling on Jesus. Jesus, 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 Jesus. Look, if somebody finds that video, I'm willing to offer a reward because I'm usually good at finding stuff on the internet. Dare I say better than anyone. And I cannot find that video. So if all you watching this are checking out some old Bobby Hemmett videos and you find the one where he's like, Jesus, 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 please send it to me. I will literally bake you a cake or something equivalent. What a friend we have in Jesus. Night Core Elite Gaming, peace and greetings. Society Eject says, I remember that video, they took it down. That might be why. Louis says, I think I remember that video. I know I do, I just haven't been able to find, like I should have saved it. Alright, let's keep going. Because we got 22 verses. Living in the Zone says, what was the topic of that video he was doing that? If I knew, I'd be able to find it. All I remember was that really tickled me deeply. And I want to be tickled again. You start studying this yoga stuff and you lose your ability to be tickled. So it's rare to find some very tickling things. And I need it. Is it purple or is it pink? Is it pink or is it purple? Number 5. In the archetypal world of Absoluth, this is the top pancake. So if you haven't already, by the way, memorize the 10 spheres, memorize the 4 worlds. Absoluth, Bria, Yetzirah, Asaya, right? Think of Asaya, think of Asia. In ancient times, the whole planet was called Asia. The continent of Asia, as well as Africa and Europe, was called Asia. So when they say the Asiatic man, the Asiatic black man, we're talking about ancient Earth. Lemuria, Atlantis, and all that good stuff. So think of Asaya as the lowest, manifest, densest world. Asaya, then above that is Yetzirah, above that is Bria, above that is Absoluth. Draw it yourself, write it down, keep it on a piece of paper in front of you. It won't take long to memorize it. Society Eject, I don't remember that one. Society Eject says, Travis, you old school if you remember this. There's a storm out in the ocean and it's moving this away. If your soul's not anchored in Jesus, you will surely drift away. Drift away, Lord, drift away. You will surely drift away. If your soul's not anchored in Jesus, you will surely drift away. I don't remember that one. But look at how that can be interpreted Kabbalistically. Cosmic Chlorophyll says, Malkuth, Asaya, Material World. I'm confused. No, it's all the same. It's all the same. Everything you said right there was the same. See, look. Malkuth, Asaya, Prithvi, Don't get overwhelmed. Just take it slow. Don't try to understand it. Just learn it. Just bring it out. Just look at it, remember it, and keep it moving. Look at it, remember it, keep it moving. You don't have to sit there and squeeze your brain. Just look at it. Look away and look back. Learning is unconscious. I keep forgetting to bring that book. I have an NLP book about learning. And in big ass bold letters, they have learning. All learning is unconscious. All learning is unconscious. And when I really learned that, I stopped stressing because I'm not trying to learn anything. All you have to do is constantly remind your unconscious mind. Okay, number 5. In the archetypal world of Absolute, there are assigned to the 10 sephiroth. Matter of fact, look, right now, get you a piece of paper and a pencil. If you don't know this by now, after 6 months of Qabalah and yoga, I'm talking to you specifically, get you a piece of paper to write this down. Hold up. Wait. Look. There's 4 words you need to write down in order. Absolute at the top, right? It sounds like absolute, doesn't it? Because it's the absolute, the archetypal world. Write down absolute at the top. Write down Bria next to it. Bria, like Bria Miles. Write down Yetzirah. And then write down Asaya. Those are the 4 worlds. Write that down. It's just 4 things to memorize. It's not too much. But after 6 months, that should be something that should be absorbed by now. Not hard. What a friend we have in Jesus. I like that one. Nightcore Elite Gaming says, checked out your book recommendation, Meeting the Shadow by Connie Zweig. They mention that all learning is subconscious. Yes. And you'll notice that a lot of these psychologists have realized that. Sunshine Chick says, yep, I may not be able to express it verbally, but my unconscious knows all. Absolutely. And I posit a consideration for you. Maybe it's not your subconscious. Maybe you belong to the unconscious. Maybe I belong to the unconscious. Maybe we all belong to the unconscious. Because to think of it as ours, I think we're still missing the point. That's just something that I really have been thinking about lately. It's bigger than we are, so how can it belong to us? Society EJ says, I have that diagram on my wall. Print this shit out and put it around your house, guys. You gotta take the effort. If you really want to know, you gotta take some kind of effort. Al Dickey says, Trav, is the 4 worlds the 4 elements? Absolutely. Absolutely. Everything that's a system of 4s is the 4 elements. But yes, definitely, the 4 worlds represent the 4 elements. What a friend we have in Jesus. But yeah, the 4 worlds do relate to the 4 elements. Atziluth being fire, Bria being water, Yetzirah being air, and Asaya being earth. Yamaika says, absolutely. And what we know is that whenever we see a system of 4 elements, there's actually a hidden 5th. There's a hidden 5th. Anytime you see 4, there's a hidden 5th. Just like the Ninja Turtles, right? The hidden 5th was Master Splinter, Akash. Anytime you see 4, there's always a hidden 5th. But anytime you see 4, that means the elements. Anytime you see 3, that means the 3 gunas. You dig? June says, I dreamed that we finally mastered eternal youth. No decay, no aging, no pain. We all age backwards until the age of 18. Might be closer than you think. Hecate, peace and welcome. So in the archetypal world of Absolute, there are assigned to the 10 sephiroth 10 forms of the divine name. Anyone who has read the Bible cannot fail to have observed that God is referred to under diverse titles, right? In the Bible, God has many different names. Jehovah Jireh, my provider, Jehovah Nisi, etc., etc. Well, this is Kabbalistic as well. Each of these 10 spheres represents one of the 10 names of God, which represents one of the potencies of God, a specific character of God. So anyone who has read the Bible cannot fail to have observed that God is referred to under diverse titles as the Lord God, as the Father, and by several other appellations. Now, these are not literary devices to avoid needless repetition, right? They're not trying to just avoid saying God, 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 God. These are exact metaphysical terms. And according to the name used, we know the aspect of the divine force in question and the plane on which it is functioning. So examine that concept. In the Bible, God is referred to under several different names. Now, you wouldn't think that that means there's 10 different gods in the Bible. No. But what that's showing you is that it's a different aspect. When it's time to go to war, right, you're going to get the god name of Gibera. When it's time for peace, you're going to get the god name of Chesed. When it's time for sacrifice, you're going to get the god name of Tifereth. When it comes to the Father God, you're going to have Hakma. And didn't we just talk about the Elohim? Male and female, he created them. So a lot of these ancient cultures that Christianity has erroneously titled as polytheistic, they're not actually polytheistic. The basic Christian mind doesn't understand that these different gods and entities represent different functions of the one. The one. So even though you see Vishnu, Shiva, and Brahma, those aren't three different deities. They're three limbs of one. Now this especially accounts for ancient Kemet and the Egyptian mythology, even the Greek pantheon, all these ancient cultures. It wasn't about one god or another god. They're different angles of God. There is no polytheism. Oops, I wasn't supposed to say that to the general public. But I can say that to the Magus Society. Why do you think we have different saints in Christianity and different archangels in Christianity? Or Catholicism, I should say, which is a different breed of Christianity. Yamaika says, I used to think this about polytheism, like it wasn't the antithesis to monotheism as we're told. Exactly, right? But if you only get your information from one source, then all you can believe is what they tell you. And that's what they said. These pagans worshiping multiple gods, that's just the devil. That's called ignorance. Stray Panther says, Orishas too. Yes. Sakura Kinexa says, angles and aspects. Exactly. Exactly. Cradle of humanity. Peace and greetings. Sunshine Chick says, do you mean there is no monotheism? Maybe I heard wrong. I would say it's all monotheism, because the further out you zoom, the more you start to see that there is only one. So even though a lot of these cultures appear to have different gods, they're actually different angles of the one God. We're seeing the different arms, legs, fingers, knees, and toes of one God. But because of our position, we see it as separate gods. So all the 10 archangels of the tree, whether it's Metatron, Raziel, Zafkiel, Mesukiel, Zadkiel, Kamael, Mikael, Ariel, Raphael, Gabriel, Sandalphon. They seem like 10 or 11 different archangels. But if this is all the body of God, they're just different aspects of the one. So there's no polytheism. There is no polytheism. That's not a thing. Polytheism is coming from an angle that doesn't understand. Nightcore Elite Gaming says, peace be with you. Wonderful spending time here. Peace to you too. Regardless if it's coming from the east or it's coming from the west. Now, if you can fathom that these different gods are actually different aspects of one god, you can also fathom that the plurality of Purusha, the different individual consciousnesses, are actually all different limbs of one massive unconscious that we call the human race. Michael Benjamin says, immediate gem was dropped as I got in. Nice, nice. Okay, let's go. Once more time. Now these are not literary devices to avoid needless repetition, but are exact metaphysical terms. And according to the name used, we know the aspect of the divine force in question, and the plane on which it is functioning. So look, there's a reason I keep singing these gospel songs about Jesus. So I'm trying to show you there's no reason to have any type of enmity with any deity, because all deities are just symbols of access to a specific force. So whether you're singing about Jesus or you're singing about Lucifer or Satan or what the hell ever, they're all different aspects of the one. Jesus on the main line, tell him what you want. Oh, Jesus, I want some more fruit cereal, essential oil. Number 6. In the world of Bria, it is held that the mighty archangels carry out the mandates of God and give them expression, and assigned to the sephiroth, sephirotic spheres on the tree in this world are the names of these 10 mighty spirits. And I just named all 10 of them, right? Metatron, Raziel, Zafkiel, Zadkiel, Kamael, Mikael, Ariel, Raphael, Gabriel, Sandalphon. So number 7. In Yetzirah, it is the choirs of angels, innumerable in their concourse, who carry out the divine commands. And these also are assigned to their sephirotic spheres, thus enabling us to know their mode and level of function. Righty, right? Number 8. In Asaya, so check this out. Atziluth, Bria, Yetzirah, and Asaya. She's talking about the 4 worlds right here for you. Number 8. In Asaya, we have already noted certain natural centers of force are given similar correspondences. We will consider all these associations when we come to study the Sephiroth in detail. So you will see a multifarious selection of symbols pointing to a specific aspect of the tree. So what needs to happen there is kind of expand your mind, right? You might see one thing, like say for example, Scorpio. You might see a scorpion representing Scorpio. You might also see an eagle representing Scorpio. That doesn't mean either or. That doesn't mean somebody's right and somebody's wrong. Remember what I said, this is not about right and wrong thinking. That's elementary school. That's kindergarten. That's baby level stuff. It's not about right and wrong. You want to look for the correspondence and how it connects. Look for the synthesis. When dealing with Scorpio, what similarity does a scorpion share with an eagle? Right? Can you find one? Can you find any? Likewise, the tree is going to have several different correspondences, and some of them may seem to contradict, but my recommendation is to look past the contradiction and look for the similarity. Number 9. Number 9. Society Eject says, yep, people forget to realize that working with Jesus, you're still working with a spirit/elemental. Right, right. Because if I just said there's no polytheism, that means that all gods and goddesses, all spirits, are fair game. All of them. All of them. Stray Panther says, or a snake. Yes, also a snake. Multiple different correspondences, but it's trying to teach you something about the behavior of the energy, the pattern of the energy. Give me one of them hot dogs. Give me one of them. We grow natural. If I didn't say peace, peace and greetings to you. Lily June says, oh, interesting. I kind of suspected that angels show up as homeless, etc. Yes, that's how they've shown up to me many times. Homeless folks. Dropping random gems. Number 9. In the symbolic rendering of the 10 holy sephiroth in the 4 worlds, there's another important set of factors to be considered, and these are the 4 color scales classified by Crowley as the king scale assigned to the Absoluthic world, the queen scale assigned to the Briatic world, and the emperor scale assigned to the Yetziratic world, and the empress scale assigned to the Asiatic world. Now you should remember yesterday I talked a lot about the different color scales, remember? And we talked about the different colors of the book covers of the Bihar School of Yoga books. We talked about the different paths. And now here's something. You guys have probably noticed when you look at your tarot cards, the sky is a different color in those cards. Sometimes the sky is black, sometimes it's sky blue, sometimes it's yellow. You notice that about your tarot cards? The Rider-Waite deck? Well, here's an occult secret that only the most mysterious know. The colors in those different cards relate to the different paths that are being worked. They relate to the different influences upon that card. So like I said, when you get more advanced, then these color scales start having more significance. Put that in your unconscious, and maybe when the time is right, it'll make sense to you. Number 10, this fourfold classification has a far-reaching significance in all Kabbalistic matters, and also in Western magic, which is largely based upon the Qabalah. It is said to be under the presidency of the 4 letters of Tetragrammaton, the sacred name, popularly rendered as Jehovah. In Hebrew, which has no vowels in its alphabet, this word is spelled YHVH, or according to the Hebrew names of these letters, Yod, He, Vav, He. The vowels are indicated in Hebrew by points inserted in and under the square letters of the script, which is written from right to left. These vowel points were only introduced at comparatively recent date, and the older Hebrew scripts are unpointed, so that the reader cannot see the pronunciation of any proper name for himself, but needs to have it communicated to him by someone who knows it. The true mystical pronunciation of the Tetragrammaton is said to be one of the arcana of the mysteries. Matthew Watson says, so you telling me, Trav, that I can tap into the Christ energy using any character representing that energy, like Luke Skywalker, Naruto, Neo, or any other hero based on characters? Matthew Watson, I would say that that is an astute, genius level observation. Because you know what? Modern situations require modern Christs. But only if you can hear it, can you receive it. Everybody can't hear that. What a friend we have in Luke Skywalker. I prefer Master Chief from Halo and Mega Man and Goku. Goku's a really good Christ figure. What a friend we have in Goku. Naruto on the main line. Notice the color schemes with these people too. $11. To the 4 letters of the name are allotted any fourfold mystical classification, and by means of their correspondences we can trace all manner of relationships. And these are very important in practical occultism, as will be seen later. So the 4 worlds are also associated with the 4 letters of the Tetragrammaton, which means they're also associated with the 4 elements. Right? Right? Sunshine Chick says the energetic essence is all the same in those characters. Because even the creators of these shows are tapping into Kabbalistic principles. Even if they don't know anything about Qabalah, they're tapping into these patterns that are cosmic, and that's what makes Qabalah so important. Because you don't have to know Qabalah. You just have to follow the pattern of nature, pattern of the universe. Be not afraid. Alicia M. Peace, peace. Straight Panther says Anakin Skywalker, Space Jesus, right? I mean, look at the story. It's pretty similar. Society Eject says Goku, LOL, orange all day, Bihar. Right. Him and Krillin. But even more so, like, and I spent a lot of time analyzing this stuff. If you look at it, you'll start to see all types of patterns. And a lot of these shows, you're always going to have this red versus blue, or this orange versus blue, right? Coke and Pepsi, McDonald's and Burger King, Goku and Vegeta, Naruto and Sasuke, Batman and Superman, or hell, we could even say Batman and Superman, or Batman and Superman. The correspondences go on and on. These counterbalancing factors. Counterbalancing factors. Can't nobody do me like Jesus. Society Eject says, guys, don't remember when we was a child and we turned Mickey Mouse and all the Disney characters into deities? Right. Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, all that. Unconscious Reality says, how can one focus with the songs? Well, that's the thing. This is a different kind of focus. Why do you think Bobby Hemmett told so many jokes? Living in the Zone says, Democrat versus Republicans, Bloods versus Crip, Gijula and Gibura, eggs blackly. It's called balance, cosmic balance. It naturally plays out because the unconscious mind is behind everything. Y'all all right? Give me some questions. The key here is, so in so many words, the point I'm trying to make here is, all right, where are we at? Number 12. Number 12. Or is it 11? The key here is 11. To the four letters of the name are allotted any fourfold mystical classification, and by means of their correspondences, we can trace all manner of relationships. And these are very important in practical occultism, as will be seen later. It's all about the relationships. This is why you need to build your library of correspondences. All the stuff we just talked about with these cartoon characters and movie characters, these, if you're able to align them properly, you can even build a system for yourself. Nothing, listen to what I'm saying here, nothing is excluded from this. Nothing is excluded from this. From your personal family, right? Your favorite TV shows and video games, food, right? Everything fits on this tree of life. Everything. Nothing is left out. Nothing. Sports. The type of relationships and partners you have. You got to expand. You got to expand your vision with this stuff because we're talking about something cosmic, not something individual. Cosmic Chlorophyll says, oh God, on God, I can listen to Bobby or Trav all day, but my soul shut my body to sleep when Brother Panic talked for 5 minutes. You know, just a different channel. Just a different channel of energy. Hey, Sunshine Chick says, I felt that balance so much during COVID-19. While everyone was complaining about being off work, I was chilling comfortably while receiving food stamps and unemployment. Hey, you define your reality. You label this reality. You tell this reality what it is. Can't nobody do me like Jesus. You define your reality, not somebody else. The High Priestess says, I was actually thinking I should make a list of anime cartoon correspondences to help me learn better. You absolutely should, because they're more personal to you, and you have a specific definition for them. Let them know something. You can listen up. Listen up. Somebody let me know. Number 12. 4 important fourfold divisions find a place under them. Thus enabling us to see their relationship among themselves. These are the 4 worlds of the Kabbalists, the 4 elements of the alchemist, the fourfold classification of the signs of the zodiac, and the planets into triplicities employed by astrologers, and the 4 suits of the tarot pack used in divination. You see all these 4s right here? The fourfold classification resembles the Rosetta Stone. Y'all know what the Rosetta Stone is? If you don't know, just real quick. These folks that went into Egypt, Kemet, they couldn't understand those hieroglyphs. It was extremely beyond them. They were just looking at pictures on the wall. But some of their smartest ones knew that this was a language, that there was some type of pattern. Something is to this. Eventually they uncovered what was called the Rosetta Stone, which was a stone tablet that on one side had Greek, on one side had Hebrew, on one side had Egyptian Kemet hieroglyphs. But basically it was a way that helped them interpret a lot of the hieroglyphs. So today we have a computer program called Rosetta Stone that teaches you how to learn different languages. Without that Rosetta Stone, those people would have never been able to unlock the information that was chiseled upon those stones. Just consider that for a moment. This so-called world power stumbled across the pyramids and the tombs and found information that they could not fathom. They couldn't fathom it. The best they knew was to grind up the mummies and snort it like cocaine. True story. Or maybe take some of the gold and the trinkets and the pretty statues because they looked nice, but they didn't understand what was actually happening there. It wasn't until they found an actual stone tablet called the Rosetta Stone that allowed them to translate what they were actually dealing with. And even to this day, they still don't understand. Some do. Few do. So that's what she means when she says Rosetta Stone. Laserbeam says, I watched a video with Brother Panic say something like these characters gain an amount of energy behind them, then they become like skins for similar energies, something like that. Right. Sunshine Chick says, and I'm self-employed. Typically, I'm ineligible to receive, but due to the crisis, they opened it for self-employed people to receive unemployment. What? I did not know that. Shit, if I knew that, I would have utilized that as well. Mr. Higglesworth says his mummy's kicking in, right? Okay, so that's the Rosetta Stone. Let's keep going. This fourfold classification resembles the Rosetta Stone. So like I've been saying all video, whenever you see fours, that means the four elements. That's your Rosetta Stone. These symbols are your Rosetta Stone. You understand that? The relationships of these numbers is your Rosetta Stone. So fours, threes, fives, tens, 12s. That's your Rosetta Stone. And that type of deciphering is not logical, it's abstract. The symbolic mind is what's doing that type of interpretation. Cosmic Chlorophyll says 4 for 4s. Hikate says, LOL, 3 jobs here and paying higher taxes. Whew. Alright, so Rosetta Stone. The fourfold classification resembles the Rosetta Stone, which gave the key to the Egyptian hieroglyphs, for on it were inscriptions in Egyptian and Greek. Greek being known, it was possible to work out the meaning of the corresponding Egyptian hieroglyphs. It is the method of arranging all these sets of factors on the tree, which gives the real esoteric clue to each of these systems of practical occultism. Look at what she said here. On one side of that Rosetta Stone was Egyptian, and on the other side was Greek. And what did she say a few chapters ago? She talked about this using this algebraic formula of X, Y, Z. X being the thing that we don't know, which in this case would be hieroglyphs. Z being what we do know, in this case is Greek. And Y being the Rosetta Stone, right? Which is half of X. You see that form? Now it makes more sense. So Y would be the Rosetta Stone. Y is actually half of X. X is what we don't know, which is hieroglyphs, and Z being the Greek language. So in this case, we're using the tree of life. The tree of life represents half of X, half of the unknown. So what's the other half? The other half is what we do know. In this case, it's going to be the different symbols, different relationships. You know all about some Goku and Vegeta, right? You watched every episode for the past 20 years of your life. You know all about some Naruto. You know all about Mickey Mouse. You know all about Iron Man and Thor. You know all about these different mythological stories. That's what you know. So now we've got Y, which is half of X, which is unknown. You can use Y, which is the tree of life, the relationship of the Qabalah, to assign those things that you do know to figure out what it is that you don't know. So the logical aspect is the study, but the actual work upon the tree is the meditation, because it's only in meditation that you're able to start applying Y to Z. You can't apply Y to Z when you're reading a book. You apply Z to Y when you're reading a book, because you're gaining information and knowledge. That's what we're doing right now. We're collecting info and data. But that data doesn't come to life until we close our eyes and sit still and contemplate. Please tell me that makes sense to you. Because if you're not here to learn, there are more fun things to do than listen to me ramble on and sing about Jesus. Jesus on the main line, tell him what you want. Whoa, Jesus on the main line, tell him what you want. Framestar, peace, brethren, peace. All right. Living in the Zone says the tree is like a flashlight we use walking a dark trail. Or as I like to say, that's your flashlight as you're in the Amazon warehouse. You know what you need is in there. You just got to find out how to locate it. Okay, so without this key, they have no philosophical basis and become matters of rule of thumb and superstition. Look at that now. Without the Qabalah, without this system of arrangement of information, without that, all you have is superstition, which is what most of these people have. Most of these people out here talking about spiritual stuff are superstitious. Oh, you have to call him King Payman. You have to dress him as King Payman or else he's going to hurt you. He's going to get you back. Oh, you don't want to piss off Oshun. Lucifer's going to get you, right? These people don't understand what they're dealing with, so it becomes superstitious, and it becomes an ego game. But when you're able to use a system like the tree, you can arrange these symbols for what they are, which are access points to the unconscious. So if you've been superstitious all this time, right, having this collection of information without a framework, well, now maybe you can begin to assign what you know to this stable framework, and you can get out of superstition, right? You're not going to piss off any god or goddess, and there's no reason to fear any god or goddess. There's no reason to be afraid of the demiurge or the 12 archons. Oh, but Panic said the 12 archons are the 12 zodiac, and as long as I call myself a Gemini or a Taurus, then that means that you don't have to be scared of none of that superstitious stuff. Understand that this is all a system. A system. Algebra doesn't hurt you. It's a system. You can use algebra to do all kind of things. But one thing it's not going to do is try to attack you. You're attacking yourself, right? If you have your money and you calculate it wrong and you blow it all and you go into debt, you can't blame algebra because you did the math wrong. You did that using the system. So likewise, if you're ignorant on how to work with these energies and these symbols, you can't blame them. You can't blame the demiurge, none of the 12 archons. You can't blame me, right? All you can blame is your framework. So get it right. I'm flowing straight from the survival scrolls. I come in the name of Jesus by the power of the Holy Spirit. Your thoughts, not my thoughts. Cut that bitch off. Who knows about Reverend X? Cosmic Chlorophyll says, I'm a dream about Caesar Borgia again tonight. As long as he don't swallow another dragon with his nasty chest, I'm good. be having them X-rated dreams. Society Eject says, LOL, if you're scared, go to church. If you're scared, go to church. Don't gotta click, then recruit. Natural Nature says, don't step on the crack or you break your mama's back. Remember those days? Living in the Zone says, get it tight, get it right, Miss New Booty. The Second Chamber, peace, bro. Welcome, welcome. Second Chamber says, the symbolic mind seizes the observed language of I am. Seizes the observed language. Society Eject says, yep, you can't blame the program, blame the operating system. Facts, facts. Because it doesn't do you any good. It's like this. Like when you're someone who puts out fires, you don't have time to sit here and complain. You don't have time to argue. All you have time to do is fix the problem and keep it pushing. Why do we complain about anything? What's the point? Just fix it. All right, let's keep going. Oh, yeah. So again, without a framework, you're just dealing with superstition and spookiness. Religiosity, as Brother Panic once called it. Right? Our basis and our standard of measurement is the Rosetta Stone of 4. We have a master key. We have a master key of 4 that helps us to classify, organize, and understand everything within the Hermetic, Ceremonial, occult system. So when we're talking about numbers, we're talking about systems. Like I said before, if you got 4s, anything in a group of 4s relates to the 4 elements. Anything in a group of 3s relates to the gunas of Sanskrit philosophy. But also, if you got 4s, there's always a hidden 5th. You got 4 Ninja Turtles, but you got that Master Splinter. That's the Akasha element, right? If you ever see a group of 4s, there's a hidden 5th. Always. Gosh, we're not going to go down that path. We're not going to go down that path. Let's continue. So, number 13. I like this verse right here. This is good. What I highlighted was really nice. Highlight it too if you have your book. She says, to understand a sephiroth, then, we need to know firstly its primary correspondences in the 4 worlds, its correspondences in the 4 systems of practical occultism mentioned above, and thirdly, any other correspondences we can by any means gather together, in order that the testimony of many witnesses may yield the truth. Beautiful, right? Beautiful. Of this gathering of correspondences, there can be no end. For the whole cosmos, on all its planes, corresponds in endless sequences. We are constantly adding to our knowledge if we are good students of occult science. Are you a good student of occult science? Or are you a terrible student? She said we are constantly adding to our knowledge if we are good students of occult science. No better simile than that of the card index could have possibly be found. She said we are constantly adding to our knowledge if we're good students of the occult science. You don't just read one book and then sit down and say, oh, I got it, I'm a master. You don't watch one YouTube video and start teaching, right? You don't read one chapter of a book and start making all these posts on Instagrams and trying to charge people for readings. She said we are constantly adding to our knowledge if we're good students of the occult. But not even just that. Look at what she said. Continue to gather any and all correspondences we can, by any means, Malcolm X style, by any means gather together. Why should we do that? Why should we continue collecting correspondences for this tree? Why? Because of gathering. No. We do this because in order that the testimony of many witnesses may yield the truth. Think about it. If you got in trouble and you had to call just one person to testify on your behalf, you're going to have to rely on that person's delivery. But if you have many witnesses, right? If you got 100 people who saw you and can testify on your behalf, you can't deny that, right? In order that the testimony of many witnesses may yield the truth. This is why you need to keep studying. This is why you need to keep adding symbols and correspondences to your understanding. Living in the Zone says, can I get a witness? Can I get all the witnesses, right? Nobody in this world can sit up here and say that I'm faking the funk and I don't know what I'm talking about. I literally have 70 witnesses right now as I read this book, page by page, verse by verse, and break it down verse by verse, right? So nobody can say, oh, he don't know what he's talking about. He's just guessing. I'm flowing, right? Likewise, the reason that you study all these symbols and correspondences and assign them to the tree is so that you can have undeniable backup. No more guessing. You don't have to guess. Well, I heard from somewhere that they said that the tree of life was upside down and backwards. Okay, well, do you have any witnesses to back that up? Do you have any receipts that show and prove what you just said? Or did you literally just hear that from one person and now you're scared? Show and prove. Show and prove. Now, yeah, somebody did ask that recently. And that's not me being aggressive towards you and trying to keep you away from my live stream. But what I'm saying is if you're going to get deep into this occult science, do not come to me or any other occult scholar with it is said and I heard that. No, I need to hear what book you got that from, how you meditated to get that. I need something to back that up to stand on. Don't come to me with no, it is said that. They said. Who is they? Who is they? Back it up. And there's more than enough information out there for you to get that backup. That's what I'm trying to say here. That's what I'm trying to say. Not trying to hurt your feelings. I'm trying to say, do the work. That's all. That's all. Hecate says, that's what we called in scientific terms, we use data and statistics. Back up what you believe. That's all. Because I can't sit up here and argue, go back and forth with you about they said or it is said. Who is that? Framestar Film says, when divine sense becomes your common sense. Hey, it is said. Highlight that if you didn't already. That's a great verse. And one of the reasons why I love this book so much, because that's the philosophy of Dion Fortune. She's not making this stuff up out the side of her neck to sell a book. She didn't have to write this book.
Can I get a witness? Oh yeah, we have a church, we ain't going nowhere. GP, are you with me?
Stomp. Hecate says evidence-based data. Right. Court Singh says show and prove. Right. Or like they used to say in the Nation of Islam, show your receipts. Don't get mad because somebody says show your receipts. Why would you get mad if you had receipts? You would only get mad if you made it up. Or if somebody told you and you believed it and you can't back it up. If I don't know, I'm going to tell you I don't know. Natural nature asked me a question earlier. I don't have enough data to answer the question appropriately. That doesn't hurt my ego. I just don't know. Now, if I ever find out, I'll be happy to relay the information. Or if you find out, please bring me the information. Let's keep going. The second chamber says numerical values are extensions of dimensional symbologies of energy types and forms. Yes. Hence why understanding the relationship that these numbers have with each other is so important. So that if you don't learn anything from me, at least learn to cross-reference and research and figure out what it is that you're talking about. That's all. The side of EJ says, yep, you have no business talking about something you can't back up. Stay in your lane. I remember on one of my videos specifically, this is the last and only time this happened to me, and I learned my lesson. It was one of my early videos. I wasn't quite sitting in front of the couch just yet. And I remember I heard from EA Coetting, he said something about you have to have your mirror tilted at a 45-degree angle in order to work with the Goetic spirits, because they enter our world from a 45-degree angle. I thought that was so cool, and I said it in my videos. Yes, in order to do your rituals, you have to angle your mirror at 45 degrees. And somebody checked me on that, right? It was just like, well, why? And where do you get that from? And can I get some more information? And I didn't know what to say. I didn't have anything to say. The only answer I could have said was, oh, I just said it because EA Coetting said it. But I learned a lesson that day. Don't talk about something that you don't know or understand. And if you do, maybe preface it with, hey, this is where I got the information from. If you want more, see where I got it from. Okay. You guys ever watch Tales from the Crypt? I was trying to watch it last night, and I could not identify if that was a male or a female. I was puzzled. I'm usually pretty good at that. It's one of those gatekeepers. In order that the testimony of many witnesses may yield the truth, we gather correspondences to help us conceptualize these sephiroth. So we need to know the primary correspondence in the four worlds, right? We need to know the correspondence in the four master key categories, right? And then we need to know any other correspondence that we may find. This is called cross-referencing, right? Of the gathering of correspondences, there can be no end. For the whole cosmos on all its planes corresponds in endless sequences. We are constantly adding to our knowledge if we are good students of the occult science. Keep learning, right? Keep learning. Don't ever sit down on your laurels, on your haunches. So, number 14. But yet again, we must remind the reader in this connection that the Qabalah is as much a method of using the mind as a system of knowledge. If we have the knowledge without having acquired the Kabbalistic technique of mentation, it is of little use to us. In fact, we might go so far as to say that it is not possible to acquire any great degree of knowledge until this technique of the mind has been mastered. Let me rewind that one sentence. In fact, we might go as far as to say that it is not possible to acquire any great degree of knowledge until this technique of the mind has been mastered. For it is not the conscious mind to which the tree appeals. What I've been saying to you, look at this. Look at this. For it is not the conscious mind to which the tree appeals, but to subconsciousness. For the logical method of the Qabalah is the logical method of dream association. But in the case of the Qabalah, the dreamer is the racial subconsciousness. We may call it the collective unconscious, the oversoul of the peoples, the earth spirit. Into communion with this earth soul, the adept enters by means of meditation on the prescribed symbols. This is the real import of the tree and its correspondences. You learn this stuff through meditation, not through reading. And by the way, when you guys do start working with the unconscious, you're going to find some very peculiar behaviors. For the unconscious mind is God. It is God. But the thing is, it's not God as you may have thought of before. Yes, this is a God that produces everything, but at the same time, What did I mention last night? The intentions of this God are good. It wants to protect you, keep you safe, keep you happy, comfortable, and all that stuff because it loves you. But sometimes those intentions are misinterpreted and we develop behavior patterns that may actually be self-destructive, right? Your unconscious mind might want to keep you in a state of bliss, happiness, harmony, excitement, and wonder. But it may be interpreted as, I need to smoke a lot of weed every single day. Now, while that may keep you in a state of bliss and you might be having fun and having all these great ideas, it's draining your money. It's also probably not good for your health, and it's probably not good for your relationships. So if you never check that, you may drive yourself to harm. But if you can actually sit down and analyze your unconscious mind and its good intents, you can say, oh, my unconscious mind wants me to be happy. I wonder if there's another way that we can express this desire. That's how you can start working with the unconscious mind. So what I'm saying is that even though this is a God that we're dealing with, it isn't used to being a human. And on top of that, it is dealing with everybody else at the same time. This God is busy. Busy. So this is your part and your portion. Be in the conscious mind. If I could show you the card of the magician right now, I would. It's your duty to organize your desire for the future, your intention, and where you're trying to go. You have to work with the unconscious. It's not going to do everything for you, right? Somebody will understand what I'm saying. I mentioned a story yesterday about a woman. She could lose weight, but she couldn't keep it off because her unconscious mind was trying to keep her faithful to her husband. She believed if she lost enough weight, she would become attractive to other men, and then she might end up cheating. So her unconscious mind was actually keeping her overweight. She had to actually go within and do some shadow work to be able to reorganize her unconscious mind, right? So that she could realize that just because she's lost weight and is attractive doesn't mean that she's going to cheat. That was a belief that she programmed into her unconscious mind. The unconscious mind just produces what we feed it. So what are you feeding it? I hope y'all listening. Man.
Tales from the Crypt.
Louis says Afraid of the Dark was cool too. Yeah, man. On some late nights, see what I like to do is wait till everyone goes to sleep and cut all the lights off and really get into this unconscious dark mood and have the music all creepy and stuff. Every now and then I'll tap back into some of the things that scared me as a kid. Are You Afraid of the Dark? The Alien movie. Last night, that's why I actually pulled up Tales from the Crypt. Because I remember when it used to come on HBO, and that whole path working of the intro where they would take you through the gate with the dragon on it, and you'd pass that tree with the tire swing, then you'd open the door and you'd see all these cobwebs all over all the furniture, and you'd go up the stairs and down the stairs. And remember, you'd go into that empty room with the library, and the bookshelf would open to the side, and you'd go down that spiral staircase with all those faces on the pillars with like the orange flame inside their mouths. Then eventually you get to the door with that big pot in front of it, and you'd open it and you'd travel through this laboratory looking place, the crypt, and all of a sudden you'd get to this coffin, and then it'd pop up, and then she would pop out and start laughing like an absolute maniac. Yeah, I think certain ones of us have had that whole path etched into our memory. The second chamber says androgynous ghoul was up on Tales of the Crypt, lol, right?
Tales from the Crypt.
Lily June says this body should be 100% under my command. Getting closer. Did we create our guides? And you know, that's what the Swamis were doing also. Swami Satyananda and all them. They were using yoga as a means to have full conscious control over their body. They could stop their heartbeat at will. They could hold their breath for an extremely long time, and all sorts of things like that. Nuru says, Vedas say all is Brahman, Atman, self, both fundamentally different than God or deity, which are loaded with objectness, outsideness, him or her or my God. These create objects and attachments. You're right, you're right. And this is somewhat of a new field for me, so I'm still attempting to choose my words a bit more intelligently. Like I said with Sunshine Chick earlier, I'm trying to not think of it as my unconscious, but rather I belong to it. Or what I think of myself belongs to it. Living in the Zone says, I've heard trauma responses of gaining weight after someone was molested as a buffer to protect the self from ever being touched again, along the same vein as the lady that gained back her weight. Right, right. Ooh, amazing stories. Tales from the Dark Side, Monster Vision. I'm gonna write those down because those are ones that I need to watch next. Yeah, some of those old ones I completely forgot about. And also know that a lot of this creepy stuff represent our way of tapping into the unknown and the unconscious. Amazing stories. There's one particular episode of one of these shows that I don't remember what it was. I've been searching for it for decades. All I remember was at some point, I think the grandfather was slowly dying or something, but stayed alive. And there was like a mother and a son with him. It's like he died, but he stayed alive. He was so stubborn, he refused to die. I think at one point he blew his nose into the napkin and his nose came off. That might have been Amazing Stories. I actually do think I found it again at some point. I know that scared me a lot as a kid. Amazing Stories, Tales from the Dark Side, and Monster Vision. Alright, we're getting back to the book. Hold on. You guys just typed a whole lot just now. So I'm just catching up on the chat, that's all. Friday the 13th series. There's a series? Will Trent says, this is the Midnight Society. See y'all later in the comments, though. You know I get it. Okay. The High Priestess says, I came to realize I keep regaining weight as a way to protect myself from sexual assault, and also out of fear that I'll attract people who only want me for my body. Many layers still working through. And I commend you, right? That's a powerful thing to be able to face yourself and the origin of your behavior. Because that's gaining control instead of being under control of it. Framestar Film says, a balanced diet for the mind. Add some creative symbolic sugar to the still waters of your meditation and let your awareness crystallize. Uh-oh. If y'all been on this book study, you know what he's referring to. All right, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Okay, so we were just on 14. 14 basically said Kabbalah is as much as a method of using the mind as a system of knowledge. And the system of knowledge is the data and all the correspondences, right? But the method of using the mind is the abstract meditation upon the symbolic concepts. So it's the meditation that's the work. Without using both the left brain, which is the intellect, or we could say Hod, and the right brain, which is the abstract, or we could say Netzach, without using both of those, we can't attain the deeper levels of understanding. Study and practice. That's why all these books say study and practice. The tree appeals to our subconscious mind, to our unconscious. That's what I keep saying. Memorize the symbol. A picture speaks 1,000 words, right? Our work upon the tree is done in meditation and in dreaming. That's where the work is done, in meditation and in dreaming. So learn how to breathe and learn how to focus on a symbol for an extended period of time. 15. The highest of the four worlds of Atziluth, the plane of pure deity, is called by the Kabbalists the Archetypal world. It is also called, in the somewhat clumsy translation of MacGregor Mathers, the intellectual world. This term is misleading. It is only intellectual as we commonly understand the word as relating to the mind, the rational intellect, insofar as it is the realm of archetypal ideas. Insofar as it is. That was a lot of two-letter words. Insofar as it is. The realm of archetypal ideas. But these ideas are entirely abstract and are conceived by a function of consciousness quite outside the range of mind as we know it. Can you say the unconscious? These ideas are entirely abstract and are conceived by a function of consciousness quite outside the range of mind as we know it. Therefore, to call this level the intellectual world is to mislead the reader, unless at the same time we say that by intellect we mean something quite different to what the dictionary means. This is a poor way of expressing our ideas. It is far better to coin a new term with a precise meaning than to use an old one in a misleading sense, especially as in the case of Atziluth, there is an excellent term already current, the term archetypal, which exactly describes it. So like I said, she's not changing it because she wants to make something hip and new. She's relabeling some of these terms based on the culture that we exist in. Beyond the mind. 16. The Atziluthic world is said by the Kabbalists to be under the presidency of the Yod of the sacred name of the Tetragrammaton. We may justly deduce from this that in any other fourfold system, whatever is said to be also under the presidency of Yod will refer to the Atziluthic, or purely spiritual aspect of that force or object. So you see that? So out of the Yod He Vav He, she's saying here that the world of Atziluth is under the presidency of the Yod. So if you were to do some research on Yod and what it symbolizes, one of the things is it does represent the fire element. It represents the wands of the tarot. It represents a masculine impulse of beginning and progenitor, right? Seeding, initiating. But this is also what's happening in the world of Atziluth. Absolute. Yod. Yod. Okay, so in the Absoluthic world, it is said by the Qabalah to be under the presidency of the Yod of the sacred name of the Tetragrammaton. We may justly deduce from this that in any other fourfold system, whatever is said to be also under the presidency of Yod will refer to the Absoluthic, or purely spiritual aspect of that force or subject. Among other associations given by different authorities are the Wands suit of the Tarot pack and the Fire. Wait, Tarot pack and the of Fire. Dion, is that a typo? It will be apparent to anyone who has any knowledge of occult matters that as soon as we know the element to which a symbol is assigned, we know a good deal. For it opens up all the ramifications of astrology for us, and we can trace out its astrological affinities through the triplicities of the zodiac and the affinities of the planets within them. In other words, once you start to understand what elemental association any symbol has, you actually know a whole lot more than you realize. So if you know that something represents the fire element, you can now, hell, instead of 12 zodiac, you got 3 to choose from. It's either going to deal with Leo, Sagittarius, or who's the other one? Aries, right? It's going to deal with one of those 3. You know, it's going to deal with something that's more spiritual as opposed to emotional or physical or intellectual, right? So this is one of the reasons why this is the abstract method of learning, because as you begin to assign the correspondences, questions are answered immediately. All right. You also are able to associate the planets, right? So you know if it's going to be something that deals with Gemini, right? Air, Gemini. Well, you can also assume correctly that it's going to deal with Mercury, right? Because all the different signs are associated with planets and the elements. So you get what I'm saying here? The more correspondences you learn, the more that you're able to deeply figure this stuff out. I mean, I'm pretty smart, pretty damn smart, but I'm not like any more smarter than any of you. I just happen to understand how these symbols work. As soon as we know what zodiacal, or I should say zodiacal, and planetary associations exist, we are in a position to explore the correlated symbolisms of any pantheon. For all the gods and goddesses of all the systems that the human mind has ever invented have astrological associations. Bim, bam, boom, bing, bong. You see that right there? For all the gods and goddesses of all the systems that the human mind has ever invented have astrological associations. That right there is a skeleton key, right? That is a major flag. That right there can begin to solve and sum up all kind of questions that you had. Whatever little god you're talking about or working with, find its astrological association and you got it. You know, in Ghostbusters, they made those traps. First, they had to zap them with those laser beams. But then they slid that trap, right? They kicked the little box and stepped on it, and it sucked the ghosts up. If you can figure out the astrological signification of any deity, you got him. You got it. You got it. It's yours now, Pokemon style. You remember in Pokemon where you had to beat the Pokemon down and then throw the ball at it, and now it's yours? Sometimes now. Sometimes it will struggle and bust out. Animal abuse. But PETA didn't exist in Pokemon world. In any case, it's not a mystery. Like I've been telling y'all since day one, like there's a system and a structure to all this. It's not like a free-for-all. You don't just go out here and, oh, I was working with this deity and this god and something random happened to me. Like, no, there's literally a system to all this. Every god, every goddess, that means we talked about these characters, right? The Goku and the Naruto and these movies. If you can line them up with the tree, guess what? Right? If you can line up Goku with the sun, with the Sephiroth solar energy, uh-oh. This is the story of a girl who cried a river and drowned the whole world. And she looks so sad in photographs. I absolutely never. Man. Thank you, Stray Panther. Proton beam. Proton beam. Thank you. Gotta get it right. Ghostbusters were my heroes as a kid. I had a little bit of trauma with that. I don't know how young I was, but I remember being very young, and I so badly wanted to be a Ghostbuster for Halloween. But for some reason, whatever it was, my dad didn't want me to be a Ghostbuster. I guess because I don't know. I can't even guess. I don't know. So they were trying to encourage me to wear my football uniform for trick-or-treating. And I was like, nah, I'm going to create my own Ghostbusters outfit. So I literally took cardboard boxes and I created my own proton pack and everything, painted it and all that good stuff. My dad was like, no, you're not wearing that. Put on your uniform and let's go. I was so traumatized. I really, really was looking forward to being a Ghostbuster. And see, as a kid, that moment, that slice in time froze in my memory. I mean, I don't know what was actually said. I don't know what was the actual impulse. I don't understand. I was a little kid who had my own desires, and when they weren't met, I was hurt. So it froze in time, right? Froze in time. Now, as I get older, I can look back and see it from a different angle, right? I can see it without blaming my father. I can see it without being upset or having any kind of emotional reaction, because that's the thing. When those moments in time get frozen in your memory, they're surrounded with a cloud of intense emotion, and it begins to influence your future. So me being able to look back and neutralize that, understanding it wasn't that serious. Maybe he was tired. Maybe he was busy. Maybe he was embarrassed by my cardboard creation. Who knows? And also, who cares? It doesn't matter. Because today, I could go to Amazon right now and buy myself a full cosplay Ghostbuster outfit and wear that shit. And walk around the neighborhood like an insane person. Or drive to Walmart and go shopping with my proton pack strapped to my back. I can do that and no one can stop me, right? It's better that I can do that now and be happy about that than to cry and mourn about the fact that I couldn't do it back then. And furthermore, I released any kind of anger that I held in my body and in my memory towards my father in that situation. This is the importance of shadow work. Because if you don't deal with these things that happened in your past, they all have an influence upon you. No way around that. Court Sing, this is on page 60. Thundercats are on the loose. Feel the magic, feel the roar. Living in the Zone says, which one were you, Trav? Winston, Egon, Peter, or Ray? I don't think I had a favorite one. I was just one of them. Hecate says, I like the ghost on that movie. The big dude who looks like marshmallow cookies. Yeah. He was a cute, terrifying, interdimensional being for sure. A lot of them are. Society Eject says, yo, Travis, you just gave him a key on how to do shadow work. Again, man, if they're hearing it, wisdom is job. Peace, bro. Wisdom is job says, random. It's always 72 when I look at the viewers. Nice. Now you can imagine hearing somebody tell a story like that and still being upset about it. Yeah, I'll just never forgive him for that, or it's just hurt me to the core. You know what I'm saying? And never let go of it. See, forgiveness isn't saying what you did was right and you should have done that. That's not forgiveness. Forgiveness is letting it go. I let it go. There's no reason for me to hold on to it anymore. There's no reason for me to hold on to it anymore. That's forgiveness. Releasing it. Okay, it happened. It happened. And it did hurt. But guess what? It's not the same today. It's not the same. Unconscious Reality says they have cosplay conventions here in Georgia. That's right. The last one that I went to, I was reading Durana Darshan the whole time because that was more interesting to me. Not any shade on the cosplay. That's just what was happening in my life at the time. I like cosplay, especially when other people do it. Atropa says, yes, you can dress up like a Ghostbuster anytime you want now. Even little things from the past can mess with you as an adult. That's right. Living in the Zone says, reframing your memories is shadow work. Exactly. Stuffed Dog, peace, brother, peace. Thunder, 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 cats. Sir Panther says, anyone remember Inhumanoids and Visionaries with their strange armor? Scott Russell says, some can't and take it to the grave. Can't be me. Can't be me either, my friend. I cannot do that. Life is, there's too much more going on in life for me to be feeling like that. Lily June. Peace, 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 peace. Okay, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Because we got 30 more minutes before it reaches 3 hours. And we got 10 verses left. So please understand, what I have highlighted here is very important, and we've thoroughly discussed why. I'm thorough here because I want you to be able to hear this one time and get it. If you hear it one time and get it, we can move on to the deeper stuff. Because while this is so important right here. But trust me when I say, there's even more. This stuff gets even deeper, but you can't fathom it unless you understand the foundations. So please get this information here because we got so much deeper to go. So much deeper to go. As soon as we know the element to which a symbol is assigned, we know a good deal, for it opens up all the ramifications of astrology for us, and we can trace out its astrological affinities through the triplicities of the zodiac and the affinities of the planets with them. For all the gods and goddesses of all the systems that the human mind has ever invented have astrological associations. The stories of their adventures are really parables of the workings of cosmic forces. Through this maze of symbolism, we could never hope to find out our way unaided, but if we anchor the end of each chain of correspondences to its sephiroth, we have the clue we need. Again, think of the XYZ. (17) All systems of esoteric thought, as well as all popular theologies, attribute the construction and presidency of the different parts of the manifested universe to the mediation of intelligent and purposive beings, workings under the instruction of Deity. Modern thought has tried to escape from the implications of this concept by reducing manifestation to a matter of mechanics. It has not succeeded. And there are signs that it is not far from the point when it will perceive mind as being at the root of form. She's saying what we've been talking about many times before. Where science falls short is that it ignores the fifth element and it ignores the spiritual aspect of things. It only focuses on the manifest dimension. But we have a deeper understanding because we know that the manifest dimension is an end product of the unmanifest, right? So imagine if you're trying to figure out the secrets of the world without considering that, you're never going to find it. You're just going to swim around in Prakriti for eternity, which is probably why they continue to spin around in Prakriti for eternity. Science has reduced the creation and the operation of the physical world to a matter of mechanical process. Science fails to satisfy the seeker because its focus is only upon the outer form of the material world. It cannot satisfy the questions of spiritual force because it lacks the abstract symbology of the occult. This is why symbols are so important. Y'all better get with it if you ain't with it. If you don't know, now you know. Number 18. The concepts of the ancient wisdom may be crude from the standpoint of modern philosophy, but we are forced to admit that the causative force behind manifestation is more akin to its nature to mind than matter. So what she's saying here is that in terms of cause and effect, cause seems to share more in its nature to mind than it does to matter. That's profound, and she figured this out long before Neil deGrasse Tyson's talking about quantum physics and did you know that the universe is made of the same code like a Windows browser? That's amazing. Long before any of this this Bill Nye the Science Guy stuff. We've already figured this out. That manifestation has more to do with mind. It's more akin in its nature to mind than it is to matter. Why didn't I highlight that? Does anybody remember the anime called G-Force or Battle of the Planets? I really enjoyed that one as well. Bill Nye the Science Guy. My brother just told me that, well, my son told me. I get them too confused sometimes. He told me that Bill Nye is back with a new show. To go a step further and personify the different types of force is a legitimate analogy, provided we realize that the entity, which is the soul of the force, may differ as much in kind and degree from our minds as our bodies differ in type and scale from the bodies of the planets. Please highlight that and look at it again. Right here, where it says provided we realize, right? I'll read it again. To go a step further, right? Because what she just said was manifestation has more to do with the mind than it does with matter. Then she goes on to say, to go a step further and personify the different types of force, right? Because we're looking at the different types of force now, as is a legitimate analogy. Provided that we realize the entity which is the soul of the force may differ as much in kind and degree from our minds as our bodies differ in type and scale from the bodies of the planets. God Almighty. We shall be nearer an understanding of nature if we look for mind in the background, Akasha, than if we refuse to admit that the visible universe has an invisible framework. The ether of the physicists is closer akin to mind than to matter. The ether of the physicists is closer akin to mind than to matter. Time and space, as understood by the modern philosopher, they're more like modes of consciousness than linear measures. Time and space, she says, are more like modes of consciousness than linear measures. We think of time and space as a linear measure. No, they're more like modes of consciousness. We're unraveling this reality that we live in. It is not as solid as we thought it was. Right? So she says here, in terms of cause and effect, cause shares more in its nature to mind than it does to matter. And she says it serves us to consider the forces of the universe with anthropomorphic traits and personality, right? That's what we do. We consider the gods and these entities as having anthropomorphic traits and personality. Why? Because it speaks to our symbolic abstract mind. Listen close here, right? Stop whatever you're doing and listen. However, when personifying the forces of the universe, we must always realize that the entity, which is the soul of the force, may differ as much in kind and degree from our minds as our bodies differ in type and scale from the bodies of the planets. Think of how big Jupiter is, how big Saturn is. You can't even fathom it. We can't even fathom how big the moon is. We can't fathom how big the city we live in is. Yet, what she said was, the entity which is the soul of the force may differ as much in kind and degree as our minds and our bodies differ in type and scale from the bodies of the planets. That's how different it is, right? These entities that we're dealing with are as different from us as our physical bodies are different from the size of the Earth, of Jupiter. I know y'all not hearing this because that is big. That is big, right? As different as your body is from the planet Saturn, so is the difference between your mind and the kind of mind and the degree of mind of Saturn. If you get what I'm saying, please say something in the chat that shows that you understand that. Because if not, I highly suggest that you meditate on that verse as well. Right? Because here's the thing, like, when we think of these entities and these deities, we think, oh, they're just a person, an invisible person floating in the sky somewhere. No, you know that's not true. These things are as different from us as, oh my God. The occultist understands that time and space are not linear measures, but modes of consciousness. Just read over it and think about it. It won't make it any more clear if I stress myself out. Number 19. The initiates of the ancient wisdom made no bones about their philosophy. They took each factor in nature and personified it, gave it a name, and built up a symbolic figure to represent it, just as a British artist have, by their collective efforts, produced a standard Britannia, a female figure with a shield charged with a Union Jack, a lion at her feet, a trident at her hand, a helmet on her head, and the sea in the background. Analyzing this figure as we would a Kabbalistic symbol, we realize that these individual symbols is a complex glyph. Right? We realize that these individual symbols in the complex glyph have each a significance. The various crosses which make up the Union Jack refer to the four races united in the United Kingdom. The helmet is that of Minerva, the trident is that of Neptune. The lion would need a chapter to himself to elucidate his symbolism. In fact, an occult glyph is more akin to a coat of arms than anything else. And the person who builds up a glyph goes to work in the same way a herald designing a coat of arms. For in heraldry, every symbol has its exact meaning, and these are combined into the coat of arms that represents the family and affiliations of the man who bears it. A magical figure is the coat of arms of the force it represents. Highlight that last sentence. Hell, highlight this one too. A magical figure is the coat of arms of the force it represents. And by the way, did you see Durga there? Did you see Durga? Good evening, uppity unicorn. Glad you're here. Living in the Zone says this is basically how they come up with deities and all of its symbology. For example, like Baphomet. Right. And I'll tell you something also that you'll realize. There's a lot of old occult books with a bunch of symbols and like monsters and creatures. And you ever seen those old occult pictures of like a person standing there and there's like a chicken down there and he's got all these like symbols on him and there's like a candle and a bird is like spitting out a dragon. Like it looks just weird and random and crazy. Well, after understanding what she's talking about in that paragraph alone, if not these two, you can actually look at those symbols and start breaking it down a little bit better. Because it's telling you a story, just like what Living in the Zone said. Baphomet, it's not the devil, right? The goat head means something. That flame on top of his third eye and crown means something. The breasts mean something. The hard phallus standing straight up means something. And that hard phallus standing straight up has two serpents around it, just like Ida and Pingala and Sushumna, right? And he's meditating in a meditative posture, sitting on top of the planet Earth, right? He's got one finger pointing up, one finger pointing down. As above, so below. Tattoos on his arm. There's a black crescent moon and a white crescent moon. All those things literally mean something specific. So imagine how simple-brained you have to be to sit up here and look at that and say, oh, it's a picture of the devil, and not go any deeper than that, right? So I invite you to look into your life and really analyze the things that you've become aware of and what you may have deleted, distorted, or generalized. It's the devil. Oh, you worship the devil? You into the devil? What you mean? That's a picture of the devil. Picture of the devil? Why is it a picture of the devil? Just look at it. The goat head and the horns. Got an evil face. That's the devil. Okay, but what makes this? What about this is the devil? Like, where in the Bible does it say this? No man shall know the day or the hour, my brother. No man shall know the day or the hour. Brain just stops. There's actually a phrase. It's called thought terminating cliches. Phrases like that literally stop your thought process. These buzzwords, family, beloved, we're trans. What's the word they use? What's the word they use? You guys know all these spiritual buzzwords. There's one specific that's like rising up to the fifth dimension. What am I thinking of? Anyways, these are called thought terminating cliches, and they stop you from digging any deeper. Grand Rising, beloved. Ascension, is it ascension? There's a specific word that's like it doesn't matter. Ascension, that might be it. But anyways, nobody knows what these things mean. The vibration and the frequency. And I get it, you know what I'm saying? We're not all supposed to be here breaking down words, but if all your vocabulary is thought terminating cliches, it really begs the question, do you know what you're talking about? Or are you just repeating what you heard? Break it down, analyze it. It'll do you better to analyze it. No man shall know the day or the hour, my brother. Nah, see, brother, no man shall know the day or the hour. So what? Because he has breasts, he's the devil? My brother. I don't think you heard. Moby says, you're a great teacher, Trav. Thank you. Thank you. I'm passionate about this information. I really am. And I really want you to understand it too. Because this is how my unconscious mind sees the world becoming a better place. Not necessarily like, whatever. I love this. And so I'm happy to be here. Now, my brother, no man shall know the day or the hour. Oh yeah, and I forgot about that. Alligator says, and the wings represent the astral plane on the devil statue. Yeah, then there's even wings there. Like, there's so much to consider. Nicole Berkeley, good evening. Society Eject says, LOL, the Bible never gave most of the spirits a physical appearance. Preachers did. Superstition did. Right. My brother, no man shall know the day or the hour. He about cornered me into the damn corner. He was trying to force that on me. He didn't want to hear it. Okay, let's continue. This is a good chapter. I told you it was going to be a good chapter. Number 20. These magical figures are built up to represent the different modes of the manifestation of cosmic force in its different types and on its different levels. They're given names, and the initiate thinks of them as persons, not troubling himself about their metaphysical foundations. Consequently, for all practical purposes, they are persons. For whatever they may be in actual fact, they have been personalized, and thought forms have been built up on the astral plane to represent them. Highlight that. These being charged with force, this is how you work with spirits. This is how you work with these symbols. This is how you work with the energy. Yes, it's all within you. Oh, I am all things. Yeah. All that's true. But if you don't activate it, if you don't formulate it, if you don't arrange it properly, that all things within you is useless, right? Thought forms have been built up on the astral plane to represent these things. These, then, being charged with force, are the nature of the artificial elementals. But the force with which they are charged, being cosmic, they are much more than what we ordinarily imply when we speak of artificial elementals. Remember last chapter she told us that we were artificial intelligence. And we assign them to the angelic kingdom, and we call them angels or archangels according to their grade. So she's showing you a hierarchy here. There are elementals, which are pretty much raw data, raw patterns circulating in the ethers. But then when we pay attention and work with some of these elementals, we begin to ensoul them. We facilitate them gaining the beginnings of a soul. So they then graduate from just being elementals to being this angelic kingdom that we talked about. These are the angels. Elementals who have graduated and they're now on their way. Now guess what? The king of those are what we call the archangels. So for the most part, the spirits that you're working with are indeed angels. So when I say the word angel, what comes to your mind subconsciously? Are you thinking about some androgynous, fair-skinned being in a flowy robe and wings, floating down from the heaven with trumpets, little cherubim babies with wings? That's not what an angel is. As a matter of fact, an angel is just a word for a category of being. You might call them goetic spirits. You might call them demons. It doesn't matter what you call them. But the fact is, there is legions of groups of entities who have come to life because of human involvement. And they want more. So many times they're here to help. They ain't got nothing else to do. They're much more than what we ordinarily... The force with which they are charged being cosmic, they are much more than what we ordinarily imply when we speak of artificial elementals, and we assign them to the angelic kingdom, and we call them angels or archangels according to their grade. An angelic being, then, may be defined as a cosmic force whose apparent vehicle of manifestation to psychic consciousness is a form built up by the human imagination. You did it. You did it. You like hot fudge sundaes? Have you tried the lasagna? It's my favorite. Did you catch the game last night? Give me that. What kind of thought form would we create? Lily June says, so that answers my question. We create the deities. We give them life. They're already created. We don't create anything. We facilitate. We allow energy to flow. So we facilitate them. We bring them to life in our personal world. Stuff Dog says, I can't lie. When you say angel, a naked baby with a leaf over his junk comes to mind. I got to clean my house. Exactly. You know, and I'll probably be bold enough to say all of us in this chat think of that. Whenever you see angel, a naked baby with a little leaf down there and some wings. So all I'm saying is, let's turn our consciousness to that symbol and maybe reformulate it. Maybe even disintegrate it and allow it to appear in a new way. Society Eject says, so Travis, I understand all that, but how do I work with a spirit? Go read page 62 in Mystical Qabalah. Yes. All right, let's keep going. As an angelic being, then, may be defined as a cosmic force whose apparent vehicle of manifestation to psychic consciousness is a form built up by the human imagination. So, an angelic being, we can define it now as a cosmic force, okay? An angelic being is a cosmic force. Think of the cosmos. What's a cosmic force? Here's 10 cosmic forces. And if you're really fancy, here's 32 cosmic forces, okay? So an angelic being is a cosmic force. And how does it appear? Well, it says the vehicle of its manifestation, its appearance to our psychic consciousness. So when you meditate, when you have your visions, your downloads, the appearance of this cosmic force is a form built up by the human imagination. You did it, I did it, we did it. Our ancestors did it. In practical occultism, these forms are built up with great care and the most elaborate attention to the details of the symbolism, and are used to evoke the force required. Anyone who has had experience of their use will agree that they are peculiarly effectual for the purposes for which they are designed. They're effective for the purpose which they are designed. By holding the magical image in mind and vibrating the traditional name assigned thereto, remarkable phenomena are obtained. You get that? Stuff Dog says it's like we made a body for it to make sense to us. Precisely. The same way that the good swamis and saints made mantras and yantras so that those cosmic forces can make sense to us. Repeat after me. Om Durga Durga Tiyamani Durga Padvini Varini Durga Nehantri Durga Torharini. Ooh. Number one, Naturally Nature says this on a level reminds me of Tom Hanks in the movie where he's stuck on the island and he had to create someone else there, the ball. And even though it was all him, am I stretching? No, that's exactly it right there. That's exactly it. Society Eject says, yo, LOL, that's why shadow work is mandatory before you get into working with spirits, because you will filter everything through your trimmer for your trauma. And that's why you will see scary demons. Exactly right. Exactly right. I mentioned that guy begged me not in person to my face, hands on my shoulders, begged me not to make YouTube videos about the Necronomicon because of the terrible things that these entities do. But I had to also understand he had a traumatic experience. He had a traumatic experience based on his past. So in his eyes, that's all he could see was his own trauma that wasn't healed yet. I don't share that trauma. Framestar Film says, yes, they appear to us in imagery we can grasp. Cosmic Chlorophyll says, I see energies in sackcloth when I think of angels. I also see a half-black man with one big-ass jeweled wing. That's the way they have come to me. Naturally Nature says, Durga is an aspect of me and I love her. Me. Yes. Hecate Goddess says, you being Wilson. Right. Wilson. Okay, 21. As we've already noted, it is necessary to use the mental technique of the Kabbalists in order to get any sense out of the Qabalah. This formulation of the image and vibration of the name is designed to put the student in touch with the forces behind each sphere of the tree. And when he comes into touch in this way, his consciousness is illuminated and his nature energized by the force thus contacted. I'm telling you, when you do these mantras and these meditations on the yantras, you're actually coming close to the unconscious mind and allowing it to come back to you, because you're embracing the unknown, which means that the unknown is embracing you. That's why meditation on the mantras, on the yantras, with Tantra and on the Upanishads and these ancient texts, that's why they bring enlightenment, because they're literally doorways to the unknown. So when you spend energy, focused time, and concentration on them, you're opening a channel for this stuff to come back to you. So it doesn't matter what the mantra translates to if it's in Sanskrit. What matters is you study what it's supposed to represent, symbolically, not literally. Omni Arlandria, peace, good evening. You're coming at the end of all the gems. All right. So one more time, this formulation of the image and the vibration of the name, the formulation of the image, yantra, and vibration of the name, mantra, is designed to put the student in touch with the forces behind each sphere of the tree. And when he comes into touch in this way, his consciousness is illuminated and his nature energized by the force thus contacted. You become illuminated by your contact. And he obtains remarkable illuminations from his contemplation of the symbols. She says his a lot here. And I remember I posted a quote from her on my Instagram once, and this girl tried to get all political with me. It should be her or they. You got to use the right pronouns. Da, da, da. I'm like, woman, this, first of all, I don't even know if you're in the right place. Second of all, a woman wrote this. Oh, well, you're just going to belittle my comment just because a woman author wrote it. I don't have time for none of this. You don't even know the title of this book. You didn't even read the quote. You just saw he and his and thought you could pick a fight. Go sit down and eat some chicken. Or better yet, try the lasagna because it's my favorite. I highly doubt Dion Fortune was concerned about that. Now, Gareth Knight, her student, he made care to do that, and it's fine, whatever. But that's literally not anything important to be worried about. Not in this field of study. But I digress. Society Eject says, Travis, so working with the archangels that represent the different spheres on the tree is the same as working directly with the sphere in path working. Yes. Have you tried the lasagna? It's my favorite. Is it still hot out there? Did you catch the game last night? NPC. These illuminations are not a generalized flooding of light, as in the case of the Christian mystic, but have a specific energizing and illumination according to the sphere opened up. Hod gives understanding of the sciences. Yesod gives understanding of the life force and its tidal modes of functioning. When Hod is contacted, we become filled with enthusiasm for and energy for research. So that's how you know there's all kind of Hod energy on this YouTube channel, right? Did you spending time on my YouTube channel or interacting with me cause you to buy a bunch of books and research them? That's not a magic spell. That's you coming into contact with the energy behind the orange sphere on the tree of life. You feel what I'm saying? Alligator says, like when Bobby Hemmett said he dropped all this knowledge and all somebody had to say after the lecture was that he cussed too much. Yes. Why are you even here? You're not here for the right reason. You should have stayed home and watched TV. So yeah, that's exactly what she said here. Look at the fruits. Look at the fruits. Whenever you spend time engaging with someone's energy, what does it produce? Does it produce anger, anxiety, fear, depression, self-defeat? Right? What does it produce when you spend time in someone's energy? What child do you create? Because when we interact with each other in a relationship, it produces children, right? That's a sign of what type of energy you're working with. The beauty of the tree of life is we've got 10 to 32 different types of cosmic energy that we're dealing with. A clear channel is going to produce clear children. Right? Right? The same force that inspired you to buy a bunch of books that I recommended and research them is the same force that inspired me to do the same thing. That goes to show that I'm clearly working with the force of Hod. When Hod is contacted, we become filled with enthusiasm and energy for research. That's what she said. 1111. Thank you, Naturally Natured. It's becoming a pattern. All right. That's my alarm. That means I need to hurry up and wrap it up. We've gone on 3 hours and 10 minutes. Welcome back, MC Maestro. Is it still hot out there? When Hod is contacted, we become filled with enthusiasm and energy for research. When Yesod is contacted, we enter deeply into psychic consciousness and touch the hidden life forces of the earth and our own natures. These are matters of experience. Those who have used the method know what it yields them. Whatever may be the rational foundation of the system, as an empirical method, it yields results. It's not magic if you didn't get results, y'all. It's not magic if you didn't get tangible results. It's daydreaming. So analyze the results. That doesn't mean you didn't get results. Maybe you didn't get the results that you expected. But pay attention. Trace cause and effect. (22) If we want to study a sephiroth, in other words, if we want to investigate the aspect of nature to which it refers, we want not only study it intellectually and meditate upon it, but we try to get into psychic and intuitive touch with its influence upon the sphere. In order to accomplish this, we always start at the top and try to get into spiritual touch with the aspect of deity which emanated that sphere and manifests it. That's close to your question, Society Ejects. If this is not done, the forces belonging to the sphere on the elemental levels, the lower levels, right, may get out of hand and cause difficulties. So this is how you protect yourself in magic, by working from the top down and not from the bottom up? But I wanted to start at the clip-off. But I wanted to work with the demons of the clip-off, right? But you don't know what a Kether is. You don't know how many paths are on the tree, but you want to jump to the clip-off first. He needs some milk. Somebody. In order to accomplish this, we always start at the top and try to get into spiritual touch with the aspect of deity which emanated that sphere and manifests in it. If this is not done, the forces belonging to the sphere on the elemental levels may get out of hand and cause difficulties. Starting under the presidency of the divine name, however, no evil can enter. Oh, somebody, he needs some milk. 23. So in 23, she's going to lay out the formulaic procedure of working with the correspondences and ritual, so pay attention, right? We start with the divine name, then you move to the archangel, then you move to the angel, then you move to the legions under assignment of that angel, right? That procedure is going to get you in tune with the energy behind the sphere. So here's what she says. Having adored the creator and sustainer of all under his holy name in the sphere we are investigating, we next invoke the archangel of the sphere, the mighty spiritual being in whom we personify the force that built up that level of evolution and continue to function in the corresponding aspect of nature. We ask the blessing of the archangel and beg that he will bid the order of angels assigned to that sphere that they shall be friendly and helpful towards us in the realm of nature in which they function. By the time we've done this, we shall be thoroughly tuned to the keynote of the sphere we are investigating and be ready to follow out the ramifications of the correspondences of the sephiroth and its cognate symbols. Somebody, he on that mojo. Now, 24 is similar to step 1 in initiation into Hermetics, the magical school of the spirit, right? This is where you employ the technique of focus upon the symbols presented. So if you got initiation into Hermetics, what you can do for extra credit is you can look at step 1, right? You can go back and look at step 1, magical schooling of the spirit. That should be page 66. Right? Thought control, thought discipline, mastery of thoughts. Look, this is all the answers you need. You don't need to buy no more books or watch no more videos. Crack open these 2 books that you already have and study them. So this is what she says. Approached in this way, we shall find the association chains far richer in symbolism than we have ever believed to be possible. For the subconscious mind has been stirred, and one of its many chambers of imagery thrown open, to the exclusion of all others. The association chains that rise into consciousness should therefore be free from any admixture of extraneous ideas and true to type. Somebody. 25. First, we review in our minds all the possible symbols that we can recollect. Right? And as these present themselves to consciousness, we try and see their import and bearing upon the secrets of the sphere under investigation. But we do not try too hard, cosmic chlorophyll, for if we concentrate upon a symbol and strain at it, as it were, we shall close the meshes of the tenuous veil that shields the subconscious mind. This stuff should be easy, not hard. In these investigations, half meditation, half reverie, right? Look up reverie. That's a fun word, not hard work. Half meditation, half reverie. We want to work on the borders of consciousness and subconsciousness so as to induce that which is subconscious to cross the threshold and come within our reach. Listen, if you only knew the type of things that you will find on that barrier. Some very pleasant, some absolutely terrifying. And I don't mean like, oh, I'm not scared of scary movies. Nothing scares me. No, there's something. And if you want to find it, that's where you're going to find it, on the edge. But at the same time, that's where you find absolute beauty and bliss. It all depends on what kind of work you're here to do. I found something that almost fucked me up for real. Beginning of May. And I only recently remembered it because it was so hardcore that I blocked my memory out. Remember back then when I was going really hard into Samkhya? Like really deep into Samkhya? And I mentioned that I tapped into some kind of unconscious dream and there were all these fireworks and explosions and just this nebulous cloud? Well, there was more to it that wasn't very nice. And there was a distinct change in my behavior after that because I realized I was avoiding that. And I think it has something to do with our group ritual. Which is why I didn't want to do a group ritual in the first place, but here we are. Ooh, Society Eject says, you must be fearless. A coward is absolutely unfit for the spiritual line. Develop courage by constantly feeling you are the Atman. Negate the body idea that is inveterate. Practice, practice, practice. Said by the great Swami Sivananda. Greetings, Alora. But, don't be scared. It's not, there's all manner of things at the edge. Depending on what your level is and what you're trying to go, you might just see beautiful things. I specifically needed to work and still need to work with some of that dark stuff. And there is no scary movie that can compare. Oh, shit. But I mean, this isn't difficult, right? You hold an image in your mind and symbols begin to appear, right? You aim to see behind the veil, the essence of the imagery as opposed to the obvious form, right? This process takes place in trance, the state between consciousness and unconsciousness. That's why we're studying psychology. Focus upon a sigil and the symbol. It takes you to a place until you begin to reach a certain twilight zone, a trance state. You can do this staring into a candle, right? You can do this in deep meditation. There's all type of ways. 26. As we proceed, thus, following out the ramifications of the association chains, I need to find a way to include ramification into my vocabulary. Due to these ramifications, as we proceed thus, following out the ramifications of the association chains, we shall find that a running comment of intuition accompanies the process. A running comment of intuition accompanies the process. And after the experiment has been repeated 2 or 3 times, we shall, not once, for 3 minutes. After the experiment has been repeated 2 or 3 times, we shall feel that we know that sephiroth in a peculiarly intimate way, that we will feel at home there, that we will feel of it is quite different to that of the other sephiroth, which we have not yet worked with. We shall also find that some sephiroth are more congenial to us than others, and that we get better results when working with them than we do with uncongenial ones, where the association chains keep on breaking and the doors of subconsciousness resolutely refuse to open to our knocking. One pupil of mine could do excellent meditations on Binah and Saturn and Tifereth, the Redeemer, but did not get on at all with Gibura, Severity, and Mars. Makes sense? "27. I shall never forget my own experience with the first attempt that I made at this method. I was working on the 32nd path, the path of Saturn, uniting Malkuth and Yesod. A very difficult and treacherous path, right? That's the first path, y'all. Oh boy. I was working on the 32nd path, the path of Saturn, uniting Malkuth and Yesod. A very difficult and treacherous path. In my horoscope, Saturn is not well aspected, and I have often experienced his opposing influence in my affairs. But after I had succeeded in treading the path of Saturn into the indigo darkness of the unseen, until the moon of Yesod rose in purple and silver over the horizon, I felt that I had received the initiation of Saturn, that he was no longer inimical to me, but a friend, who, through candid and stern, was to be trusted and to protect me from mistakes and rash judgments. I realized his function as the tester and not the antagonist or avenger. I realized him as time with his scythe, but knew also why he was called in Hebrew Shabbatai, rest, for he giveth his beloved sleep. After that, the 30-second path was open to me, not only on the tree, but in life. For the forces and problems symbolized by that path and its correspondences had become harmonized in my soul. Please catch that. From these two brief examples, it will be seen that the meditations upon the tree form a most practical and exact system of mystical development, and one that is peculiarly valuable in that is equilibrated, for the different aspects of manifestation are, as it were, dissected out and dealt with in turn, nothing being neglected. By the time we have trodden all the paths of the tree, we shall have learned the lessons of death and the devil, as well as of the angel and the high priest. Oh Lord, I just want to go home.
I just want to go home.
Yeah, yeah. That's that little boosie that I just learned the other day. A most trifling path. Living in the Zone says this chapter was loaded with non-stop massive gems. That's what she said. Absolutely correct. MC Maestro says she said the devil. Trav, I gotta put this devil stuff down. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. And that's what it is. All right. So that is the mystical Qabalah for this week. We will resume again on Monday. We'll resume again on Monday to give the laggers a chance to catch up, if any exist. But for those of you who want to continue with the Gold Book, then we're probably going to tackle that on Friday and Saturday. But that's for exclusive members, not for public YouTube. I love this book. Open your eyes. Okay, all right. So I hope you have a good night. That is the end of the book study. A lot to learn, a lot to think about, a lot to digest. That was not anything to just read and just put away. Non-stop gems dropped, right? Alligator said, thanks for the DNA upgrade, Trav. Thank you for giving me a reason, because also I'm being upgraded too. I'm an observer. I'm just here facilitating the voice. This is bigger than me. Sanaya Stewart says, thanks, Trav. It was a lovely week. Peace, everyone. Peace and love. Yes. So much, so much, so much. I hope you guys are ready for the Shadow Work Mastery System. Like I said, I'm going to be doing the early bird special for those of you who are ready to sign up for it. You're going to get the added bonus of 3 one-on-one sessions where I'll help you track your progress and make sure you're actually doing the work. So it isn't just that I'm going to throw you into this course. If you sign up here within the next week, then you are also going to get personal assistance from myself. So I hope that you guys are interested in that, and I will be releasing the details. I mean, if you just can't wait and you're ready to go ahead and send me an email. We'll get you started. But soon as we get all the stuff worked out, it's going to be on like Donkey Kong. All right. So I am probably going to get a couple of dubs, a couple rounds in on that Fortnite. Then I'm going to get back to work on the shuttle working mastery system. Because, look, my day pretty much starts when the sun, I don't know, about maybe 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock p.m. The best hours are when everyone goes to sleep. So that's what I'm waiting for. That's when I'm able to really get into the dark side. Can't record it on camera because everything is pitch black. But I'll be tapping in. Maybe I'll see some of you guys tonight. Maybe not. Um, yeah, the unconscious mind. It's way bigger. It's the ocean. It's the infinite ocean, and this conscious mind is a little island in the middle of nowhere. And that's what Kether is, sitting out in the triple blackness of space. That's what Prakriti is, sitting within the realm of Purusha. That's what we're dealing with. Now, if you notice, if you zoom out, there's a lot of islands. We're actually an archipelago, right? So you're an island, I'm an island, all of us are islands. We're all in that same ocean of the unconscious. It's not the other way around. You're not this conscious mind with an unconscious. No, you rest in the bosom of the unconscious mind. That's what we come to know of as God. That's our closest contact. So, understanding the concepts of Kabbalah and the Tree of Life is giving us a system by which we can come to know her and understand her and operate with her properly. Excuse me, pronoun police. Him, it, they, God. Excuse me, dark side folks, not God. Right? You see what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't matter what the hell we call it. You know what I'm talking about. But anyways, like I said, I hope you guys had fun. I hope you really learned something. There was so much to learn. We're gonna get back on this book on Monday, right? On Monday, we're gonna get back on Mystical Kabbalah. Not Thursday, not Friday, not Saturday, not Sunday. So if you want to catch up, if you want to read it slowly, whatever, you're gonna have plenty of time. Please don't fall off. It's only getting started. We didn't even get to the Sephiroth yet, okay? So don't give up. We still got a ways to go. All right, all right. I love you guys. I thank you for being here. This is like growing and growing. I'm really surprised that I mean, I guess I'm not surprised, but I'm happy to see that so many of you are interested in this subject matter. Kabbalah has a very special place in my heart. That's for sure. Okay. Forgive me if I haven't been responding to you as much on social media because, man, I have been exhausted, hard at work out here. Holy shit. Okay. Listen, gotta go. All right. Have a great night. Have a great night. This is TK Trav, aka Travis Magus, here with LVX777. I truly love you guys. I appreciate you all. I thank you for your presence. I thank you for your attention. I thank you for your dedication to your own work. Because, like I said, if we're all islands in the ocean of the unconscious, the work that we do is together. We're actually helping each other. Yeah, it's a solo journey. Yeah, sure. But when you zoom out far enough, you start to see that there is a thing called the collective unconscious, right? So don't be worried about what the police are doing and what the government's doing and what these folks talking about. None of that stuff matters. What matters is what we're doing. Because the stuff that we're doing is affecting the collective unconscious just as much, if not more, than what's happening in the mainstream world. See, they don't know what they're doing. They're just out here flopping around and grazing in the fields like cows eating grass. We're intentionally manipulating things. So I appreciate you being here on this journey with me. All right. This is TK Trav, aka Travis Magus, here with LVX777. I love you guys. Peace. You like hot fudge sundaes? Give me that. You should try the lasagna. It's my favorite. Is it still hot out there? Did you catch the game last night?